Yeah, again, this show aired from 99 to '06. It's a while ago. It's
Yeah,
back
just
when TV was TV.
yeah. Well, I mean, it doesn't look like that anymore. I mean, I don't know. It's like I said before. Like it looks like it was. It looks like the X Files looked in like '93. Um,
Okay.
I don't know. It just has that same quality of film or whatever. I don't know. But yeah, I'm on the part where they're like talking about like the environmentalists or whatever, and they're being all skeevy about it.
Oh,
The
the
environmental
whole.
lobby.
Oh, yeah. Did I say to screw the environmental lobby? There is an extent to which we need to screw the environmental lobby. Just Aaron Sorkin's writing, man. It's just spectacular.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
Yeah.
And that blonde Republican woman, like, can I?
Ainsley Hayes?
Yeah,
Yeah.
like I can't help but like be reminded of Tommy Lauren.
Well,
I mean, a
yeah,
little bit. Obviously, nowhere near
except
as
she was
extreme.
like 9 at the time or some shit.
Oh well, yeah,
Also, Tommy doesn't mean well.
sure, yeah,
Yeah. In an alternate universe where Tommy Lauren wasn't the spawn of fucking Satan, she might have been Ainsley Hayes, yeah. But, no. Not the reality we live in.
So I saw some shit about like what is it? Like our president's gonna bomb some people finally, or
What do you mean, gonna?
no? I
He
mean
done
like
been bombing people.
no. I know he's been bombing people. Like what president hasn't? Like
Yeah.
how does that even work? Like does the president decide to bomb people, or do the same people
Yeah.
come to every president and be like, we gotta bomb these people, and then
Well,
the president
okay.
is like, okay,
Let's talk
finally.
about the deep state for a moment, folks. No, it's a real thing. There are parts of the government that don't fucking, don't get elected and, don't change necessarily every time a different politician gets elected to any given level of government. I mean, like, for example, like, not 100% of the staff in any given, like, senator's office is necessarily going to change because like the state party is going to provide some people and whatnot, you know what I'm saying? So like there's a lot of the government that doesn't change that often, especially when it comes to the military. Like, yeah, you know pr- President X might have decided that he wanted, General or Admiral so and so to be their chief of staff, and when President Y comes in after them, they might say, "Nah, you know what? I really want General or Admiral so and so to be my, I'm sorry, I said chief of staff. I meant chairman of the Joint Chiefs." Yeah. Anyway, but yeah, like there's a lot of people that don't change in the government, like, ever. So yes, there's probably the same generals that were advising W are currently whispering sweet nothings into Trump's ear. But the fact of the matter is, like, that Chaos himself probably didn't want to do a lot of the shit that Trump has wanted to do. But at the same time, it's not like Chaos can be like, nah, we're not going to do that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's just not how it works.
And like, I don't know. I mean, it seems like it would seem to me to logically make sense that when you've got a president for whom the rest of our when you've got the president for one party and then like Congress and everything else are the other party, it would seem like it'd be harder to pin the blame on the president for most of the stuff versus when you've got everybody's the same party. It's more like, the president, like, it makes more sense to, play pin the blame on the president for most things because
well, no, not necessarily. Like, I mean, not necessarily blame the president or the Senate or the House or whatever, but the party. when any given party has total control, like the Republicans have had since Trump took office, I mean, yeah, it's like, okay, Republicans, y'all got carte blanche to do whatever the fuck you want. And moreover, y'all been running around changing rules so you don't even need supermajorities on shit when you don't necessarily want to have to convince anybody that you don't already have in your pocket. So when the Republicans can't get a fucking wall built, it's like, this is very obviously, like, within your own party, as far as the problem is concerned. So, yeah, it's...
So yeah, right now, by the way, I'm kind of blowing through this at like a would-be speedrunner's pace. Like if I were to try to be a speedrunner, this is probably what I'd be trying to do right now. Is just blow past everything.
Probably wouldn't be landing on all those platforms. You'd probably be taking the fast way down.
Whatever. Like there is no fast way. There's you're gonna hit a platform one way or the other. There's no like spot that I know of where there's.
You could minimize how many platforms you hit.
Sure, whatever.
Yeah.
Anyway.
And I've seen it done because this used to be the last game that they played at GDQ every single time.
Oh, well, aren't you fucking special? Me.
A little bit, yeah. Yes, I've seen like a billion speedruns of this game.
So you already know everything that's gonna happen. What the fuck?
I've tried to explain to you that me not being a huge Metroid fanboy is not a result of me not knowing anything about Metroid. I did try.
Well, fuck. Ginsu already
so are you
knows
going to
everything.
save the animals?
Ginsu already knows everything that's going to happen.
Pretty much.
Well, yeah, the reason I asked that was because, like, I keep seeing... I've been on Facebook a lot less lately, but I keep seeing things on my feed about, like, you know, Trump's basically, like, they're talking about World War III again, whereas they stopped doing that for, I don't know, a couple months, and now they're talking about it again. So I was just wondering what the fuck was going on, because I can't keep up.
Whatever narrative keeps the focus away from whatever actually matters at the moment. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's just where the news goes these days. Is like, what should we be focusing on? Okay, well, let's definitely not focus on that. Instead, let's talk about some bullshit hypothetical like World War III. Because basically the only way we're going to kick off World War III is by, pissing off... Shut up. Is by, I don't know, pissing off China. Not that we would do anything like that. Or, I don't know, pissing off Russia. Not that we would do anything like that, bombing Syria. Trade war. Yeah, seriously, though, I still don't think it's going to fucking happen, because neither China nor Russia are dumb enough to start slinging nukes, because it doesn't matter who fires the first one, we all die. It really does not matter who fires the first one. Like, everybody but North Korea has second strike capability, so it's... I mean, if one goes off, it's back to, you know, endoftheworld.swf. You remember that shit back in the day.
Endoftheworld.swf? I don't.
Yeah. That old Flash cartoon? And Australia's down here like, WTF, mate? And France is like, fire the missiles, but I am a little tired. Well, have a nap. Then fire the missiles! Wait, you don't remember that?
I don't remember that. I guess
wow.
I must have missed that one.
Ancient memes, dude. Yeah, you gotta watch that. It's still
I've seen
funny,
Last Two Men on Earth, and I saw it before it was on the Game Grumps.
Oh, man.
The people that make those animations, I don't know if their site's still active, sickanimation.com. Like, I saw that back when I was in college, and I was just like, what the fuck even... Okay.
Yeah.
Like, Last Two Men on Earth is, I guess, the one that a lot of people are familiar with because Game Grumps mentioned it, but they have got a lot of other shit that's, like, equally, if not more fucked up.
Mm-hmm.
And just, like, what did I just watch? Why did I just watch it? And how am I going to cope with it in the years going forward in my life?
When a Flash cartoon makes you question if you need therapy.
You watch something and see something on the internet and you're like, am I still the same person as I was before I watched this?
Oh, I've seen things on the internet that have definitely done that to me. Like when I was in Iraq and saw Zeitgeist for the first time, that fucked me up pretty hard.
I remember when I first saw like when I first started watching like a lot of the gore shit online
God.
and that kind of stuff. I probably started watching that much younger than I should have, but
Oh, girl.
yeah. And then there was that. I remember when I first started seeing that shit crop up, I was like, surely this stuff isn't gonna stay on the internet. Surely it's gonna like, it just keeps, you know, it just keeps popping up. And I think the most recent thing that I saw was, or at least the most recent thing that was truly like, oh, okay, like that definitely is up there amongst the things I've already seen. Is like the thing where the guy like jumps. What was it? It wasn't even a particularly nefarious thing. It was just a freak accident, and it wasn't like somebody doing something criminal or whatever, like the three guys, one hammer thing in Russia. But it was like
God.
Yeah, no, it was.
Oh, that was the time.
Yeah, that was the time. It was like, okay, so it was like this bridge in. I want to say it was like in. It was like Turkey, Hungary, somewhere around there. I think it was in. Is it Istanbul's in that's no. I'm pretty
sure that's in Turkey.
Okay, Turkey. Yeah, that's what I thought. I wanted to say Turkey. Yeah, I think it was in Istanbul. It was like this big bridge that's like, but it's like a concrete bridge, and it goes over the river. And it's like, when I say a concrete bridge, it's like not a suspension bridge. It's like a solid bridge that just goes across the river or whatever. And it's like really tall for like, not being a suspension bridge. And so people jump off of it for fun.
Yeah.
Into the water. But the thing is that there's this sidewalk thing along the bottom of the bridge. Like you got the bridge, and then down at the water level, there's a sidewalk in between the bridge and where the water is. I think I just did something wrong. So anyway, there's people jumping, and they're diving into the water and stuff, like having fun. It's like spring break or some shit. I don't know. And like this one guy, and then this one guy comes up and he jumps, and as soon as he leaves the top of the bridge, you're like, oh fuck. Mm-hmm. Like it's before it even happens. And then you see it, and like his face hits the concrete.
Yep.
He like just barely misses the water.
Oh.
And then later you see, I guess the person who was recording all this on their cell phone decided to go to the hospital and continue recording, or maybe it was a different person, I don't know. Yeah, and like the doctors are like holding his fucking face together, and it's like literally split down the middle.
Yep.
Yeah.
Good times on Live Leak.
Did you look that up while we were doing this? Okay.
No, I'm just saying that just sounds like something you'd find on Live Leak, which basically, as long as YouTube has been a thing, has been, yeah, sure, we'll host whatever YouTube won't.
Gotcha.
People fucking dying? Yeah, we're down with it.
Okay, so
Snuff? Cool. We're there. Please, remember that we exist.
I remember, Snuff. That reminds me of like when the what was it, the season 7 premiere of The Walking Dead came out, and everyone was calling it snuff and like torture porn and stuff, and I'm like, you guys haven't
actually seen snuff or torture porn? Yeah, no, definitely not. No, AMC is not airing anything truly controversial.
Yeah, and like
y'all are aware that this is fucking scripted fiction, right? Like, and The Walking Dead has never even been on Saw's level of torture porn, for Christ's sake.
Oh yeah, no, definitely not. So this is the really creepy scene where the statue comes to life, and there's the creepy beepy music in the background. And
yep.
It's all weird. Yeah, that just gives me the heebie-jeebies.
The heebies, also jeebies.
not easy to dodge either. Oh no, I've used up all my missiles, I'm screwed.
Pew, 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 pew.
There we go. All these early boss fights, or like mini boss fights, are just like, just fucking shoot everything and get hit, but just keep shooting.
Yay, he's dead.
It's not until later when it's like, there's actually like some strategy involved, I guess. I don't know. Probably be better if I wasn't working with a janky controller. I'd probably be better able to control my movements. But, yeah. Anyway. So, do I have the bomb? Yeah, I just got the bomb. So I got bombs now.
Yay.
This is the thing that I'm really glad they kept in the 3D games, because it's like such a key part of Metroid's exploration kind of thing. Is like you finding a series of tubes and just going through them using your balls.
We have discovered the internet.
Alright. There's these like creepy mushrooms and shit, and like you're worried about hallucinating as you're running through here from all the mushroom air. I don't fucking know. I feel like that should be a thing at some point, but like in every Metroid game, like anything toxic just does damage to you, and it's like, surely this shit would be having some sort of psychometric effects on me as well.
Psychometric?
I've got alien on the brain. Is that not a word?
I don't think so.
So I remember in Aliens, they were like, we're gonna have you evaluated by a psychometric technician. And I was like, I always wondered what the fuck that was, and I'm sure it's not a real thing, but I assumed that the psychometric was a word.
Relating to or deriving from psychometry. Yeah, that's not helpful. Psychometric. Over having to relate with psycho... Okay, so psychometry. The supposed ability to discover facts about an event or person by touching inanimate objects associated with them. So, no.
Wait, what?
Yeah, that's not a real thing.
Well, maybe it was in the future.
Maybe it was in the future? What the fuck are verb tenses?
Was in the future when Aliens came out.
It was in the future.
As in, Aliens is
Quick!
sci-fi taking place
Bring
in
the
the
DeLorean
future.
around. We're gonna unfuck this right quick.
These things are just weird. It's like you shoot them and they just jizz out little bugs and then they blow up, and
Bombs.
it's just... There's a lot of weird shit in this game. Like, for the time when it came out, I don't know, I think it's weird. I remember thinking it was weird. And then we go to... we're going to a new area now. This is Brinstar, and this is the place that has the really sick, like, fucking breakbeat music. A lot of people like it. I was actually never that much of a fan. I always kind of found it unnerving, but that's probably just because I really hate Brinstar. I don't like this area of the game. That's actually not fair to say, because most areas of this game are unpleasant in some form or fashion. Like, there's not really any place in this game that's like, yeah, I like being here. It's all like, fuck, get me out of here. Like, from the very beginning of the game, you're just like, oh man, this place is really hostile. Please get me out. And nothing's worse than, like, when you get Like when you get in like over your head somewhere, and it's just like you're out of health or you're running really low on health, and like enemies are dealing much more damage than the amount of health that you currently have, and so you can't even just get some health. You have to go and like seriously refill somewhere, but there's nowhere to do it nearby, and so you have to just like play this like adrenaline game of just not getting hit in order to get where you're going.
So in other words, you have to get good.
Yeah, pretty much, I guess. Yeah. Well, I mean, getting good would have been not getting to that point in the first place, but
True enough.
it happens to the best of us. Actually, it probably doesn't. It probably just happens to me.
I was gonna say, well, it doesn't happen to the best of us.
Yeah, but
where us includes speedrunners.
And then yeah, like almost every Metroid game has like some thing that just rapidly spits out little enemies that can be killed in one hit, and they exist exclusively to like give you power-ups to keep you alive. I don't fucking know.
It's dangerous to go alone. Take this.
Yeah, take some missiles. I always wondered, like, how... Like, the beam I get, but how does she store all these fucking missiles in her fucking arm?
Yeah, I stopped asking questions like that about video games a long-ass time ago. Because it's like, in Grand Theft Auto, how do you carry around every single weapon in the game simultaneously? Where do you put them? Yeah, I just stopped asking. Because...
In your asshole!
Yeah, pretty much.
That's like, how I feel like whenever anybody...
In the flat space compartment in your asshole.
Yeah, like whenever anybody in like a video game or an anime or a cartoon like pulls something out from behind them that they could not possibly have actually physically been storing there, I always just assume like surely that had to have just come out of their asshole.
More than that, it had to have come out of the flat space in their asshole.
I just realized that I totally didn't need to kill all these little firefly dudes. They're lighting up the room for me.
Hooray!
But I killed them all anyway, and now they're respawned again, so I'm gonna be nice and not kill them.
Where nice equals smart.
Pew pew pew, pew pew pew. And these guys with the fucking eyeballs, like they're just like little, they're like crabs with really big fat googly eyes. And then there's these bugs in here that have no choice but to fly in constant V formations.
Mm-hmm.
Like what a miserable life. You're just constantly crashing into the ceiling and the floor over and over.
It's their lot in life.
And like, what is this shit? There's like these pollen petals of shit falling everywhere. This is like the gross, overgrown jungle area, and it's just like, what even is all this shit? And like, that's one thing that I thought was a really nice addition to the Prime series, is that like there's data logs on a lot of shit, and none of them are particularly long, so it's not like a chore to read, but like as you scan things, like you can, you know, gather information about your surroundings, and like a lot of it's really like interesting and or disturbing or unsettling or just, you know, bizarre and strange. Like they definitely added a lot, in my opinion, to the game. Although it was a pain, I don't think I ever 100%ed any of that shit because there was always some stupid shit that I forgot to scan, like without fail.
I'm getting pretty close to 100% on ACO. And yeah, I've paid for it. Hold on. Yeah, do you hear that?
No.
You don't hear that?
Well, yeah, no, I hear something. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, that crackling noise is like my left hand and wrist.
Oh god.
Yeah.
I thought it was like some ASMR plastic shit you were shoving in my face.
Nope, that's all of my knuckles on my left hand and my wrist every time I move it.
Oh god.
Yeah.
That sounds ouchy.
It's not great. There's a reason I don't play competitive, shooters anymore, kids. My hands simply can't fucking do it. And there's just enough really twitchy button spammy kind of fighting in ACO that yeah, it's really put a hurt on me.
I'm backtracking now because I forgot a thing. It is down here.
Forgot a thing.
Yeah. Well, I forgot a couple things actually. There's these missiles down here, and then down here, I believe, is the we get the charge beam. So now we can charge our laser.
I'm a firing blazer.
Oh man.
God, ancient memes.
Ancient memes are the only good ones.
Yeah.
In most cases, it's just I don't know. Everything. I don't know.
A guy I know from shitposting groups on Facebook posted something about, blast it with piss. And I just posted Foul Bachelor Frog with, you stole my entire fucking bit. I'm like, blast it with piss is not a new concept, you idiots. It's from the golden age of memes where, you'd have to fucking, wade through all the gore and child porn for weeks on end on B to find one meme thread.
Ugh. Yeah.
And then people started posting memes on Facebook, and all the cool kids were into memes.
Yeah, and then...
And I wanted to retroactively go back and shoot up my high school, because I was uncool for being into memes when I was in high school, and now all the cool kids are into memes. I'm like, I want people to die now.
Oh yeah, no, that's how I feel about, everything. And we're gonna sound like such fucking hipster fucking into it before it was cool, kind of elitist fucktards for saying this, and because I know you're gonna agree, is basically everything that we were into when we were kids that nobody else wanted to be into, everybody's into it now. You name it, Star Trek, fucking Pokemon, just video games in general, sci-fi in general, it's everybody's thing now. And I'm
fantasy shit in general. Look at fucking everybody loves Game of Thrones, but you were a total fucking pariah for mentioning Lord of the Rings back when we were in high school.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how that happens or why, because and I'm sure that I'm sure that some of it is just that many people really were into it and had to keep quiet about it, but I know that can't be all of it, 50% maybe. And then the other 50% is just people that were never really into it, and I don't know. I'm sounding I don't need to sound like any more of an elitist douchebag than I already routinely do. So now this is just awful. This is just it's mean to have a boss fight with music like this. This is just disturbing.
Yep.
And for being on the Super Nintendo, as a kid, I was just really? Why? Why do we have this?
So that later
how am I supposed to feel? Oh god.
This was just setting you up for Dead Space later.
Right? That's why I was I took offense to you saying that this is a game for kids. It definitely, I've played games for kids from this era. I've played fucking Yoshi's Island, where you're riding with fucking Mario on your back, and everything is all storyland, coloring book kind of thing, and it's just not that that's not fun in its own way, but I mean and that was kind of thing. I don't know. I guess that's kind of largely dead from games now. It's in order for it to be kind of not kiddie, it has to have a shit ton of things to earn an M rating, I guess.
Well, not just that. I mean, because there's a couple different ways to make a kids game. Either the game is easy, or well, not overly difficult, I guess we could say, because kids are capable of a lot, as we well know. But just generally not that scary. You know what I'm saying? And like, I don't think this is as scary as like the Flood is in Halo, especially if you don't know that the Flood is coming. Yeah, that was because that was where I was at in high school. Was like I didn't have I got an Xbox way later than like most of my friends did, and they were all like, "Oh, as soon as you get one, you got to play Halo. You got to play Halo." So I got my first Xbox, and it was like the Master Chief Edition and all that. So I got Halo with it, and I started playing through it, and I wasn't making that much progress because I had homework. But I told. My friends kept asking, "Oh, where are you at yet?" And I'm like, "Oh, I'm doing this." And they're like, "Oh, okay, so the Flood's coming up." And I'm like, "The Flood?" And they're like, "Oh, just wait till you get there." I was like, "Okie doke." And then all of a sudden I'm like, "Wait, when the fuck did this turn into a horror game?" So this is a fun boss fight.
It's scary. Like, I'm telling you.
I'm not getting scared from this. Dude bounces back and forth.
It's scary to play it. It's scary to play it. Like,
Dude bounces back and forth, then he opens up, you shoot a missile, then you crouch into a ball in your little corner there, and then if you run out of missiles, you pop up, you get one of the little guys, you get another missile. Like,
It's not, it's okay. Like, for its time, like, you gotta consider it in the context. Like, comparing it to fucking Halo right now, like, doesn't work, because it's just like, that didn't exist when this was made, And I don't know, like, playing this alone for the first time, like, it's weird. You got a weird feeling. Like, it was just, I don't know how to describe it. Maybe it's not something
weird feeling from the Flood too. that I actually found like
yeah,
really
but surely that wasn't the first time you had that feeling. Did you ever get that feeling from like an older game?
I'm trying to think if there was anything that ever actually I found spooky in a video game before that.
I mean, like, just anything.
I don't know. Metroid always just annoyed me.
How so?
More than anything. I don't know. I mean, because like the first Metroid game I played, I forget which one it was on Game Boy, and like I got to the end of the first level and could never figure out how to fucking exit the goddamn level. I spent hours fucking around. I'm like, I'm here.
For the original Game Boy?
The end of the level. Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, that game was an anomaly, because that game was like extremely minimal. Like, they didn't have, there was no map, there was almost no HUD. Like, it was,
yeah, and
it took a special kind of person.
And there was
to
only one level, as far as I can fucking tell.
Well, yeah, because there were no demarcations between different areas of the game. Like, it was all one big thing. Like, there's never any map in the game, like, ever. In fact, you can Google it right now, and there's people that have actually made, through painstaking fucking trial and error, no doubt, fucking full-on, like, complete maps of the entire game. And you can see that it was all just pasted together, like, sequences
screenshots,
of like different areas, and it's like, wow. Like,
I remember looking up those kind of things for like Victory Road, back in the older Pokemon games.
Yeah, and like it kind of playing the game back then, like, I had no idea. There's no way I could have known like how fucking huge that game was for being like on the Game Boy and shit. And it's all monochrome and shit, and like the music and everything is even more minimal. That game was even scarier to play. Like, playing that like in your room alone, like on the fucking Game Boy, it's just like, oh god, like, I can't even like, I don't think I could play that game now. But I could back in the day, because I didn't, we hadn't been spoiled yet by fucking...
Yeah, I was going to say, there weren't a billion other games to play.
Well, yeah, and there also weren't, like, Game Boy games were kind of expected to be like that.
Well, yes. Yeah, you didn't expect the same experience out of a Game Boy game as you did out of a, SNES game.
Yeah. But no, it was definitely a trip. Like, and like I said, I don't think it's on the fucking Nintendo. Jesus, can you
the Nintendo Jesus?
No, that fucking like plant thing was just spitting its little thorn things really fast, much faster than I ever remember them doing. How am I supposed to? I don't know how I'm supposed to shoot that thing without getting hit.
Careful.
That's why I need to get. I think the next thing I can get is the spacer beam, and that'll fix that problem nicely. But... All right, super missile. Super missiles are great because like they just, even on bosses, it's just like you hit them with the super missile and it's like they're gonna, it's like a huge like owie. And you get them really early in the game, so it's...
To use the technical term.
Yeah. Well, it's like hitting them... I believe they do as much damage as, like, 5 missiles all at the same time. Like, 5 regular missiles. And then, like, but I don't know the ratio of damage between your charged beam and missiles. And I know it changes when you get certain beam upgrades, because I know that, Actually, I don't know, because I mean, I know that there's some... I know for sure that like the plasma beam is way more powerful than any other beam in terms of DPS or whatever, but I don't know how much more powerful the wave and ice beams are, if at all. I think they just might be useful for their effects. And then the spacer beam, I think, is supposed to be... It shoots 3 beams, so I'd imagine it's 3 times as powerful, but I don't know. The other unique thing about this game that isn't really a thing in the other Metroid games is like you can combine beams. And you can't really do that in a lot of the later Metroids, which kind of bummed me out. But they wanted to kind of give each beam its own kind of elemental property.
Mm-hmm.
But in this game, you didn't really have that. You just had a... Okay, now this is the tricky part. You gotta find a way to... God, that's not gonna work. It's not gonna work for me. Oh, for fuck's sake. Ah. Ah. Ah! Leave me alone. Okay. Alright. I just got a bomb jump my way. Aw, dude, are you fucking serious? Okay. Okay, so apparently that... How do I do that? I know there's a way to get up there now, because you can be a little bitch and you can wait until later to get the spacer beam, or you can do it now. And that fucking thing can just... I really want to jump over there and kill that thing, like really bad, because it's really pissing me off. Just stop spitting your shit for like 2 seconds. Like... And it just feels like the enemies in this game were not designed with like any kind of strategy in mind. It's just like there's just things that live here and they try and kill you and they don't follow like a pattern. It's just like, just stay away from them. I don't know. You can see I'm talking to myself.
No, you're not.
Man.
I'm just watching you dick around, not making any progress, trying to make this jump that you can't
make. Yes, I did it.
Did you?
What were you saying about me fucking, like, not making it? Yeah. Like...
Yep. Just giving you the motivation you needed. Oh yeah? Well, watch this, motherfucker.
Yeah, now I just have to figure out how to make it again, which should be much easier.
Until or unless you fall back down and have to start all over again.
Alright, maybe I should just try the bomb thing from here. Okay, maybe I shouldn't. God damn it. No, motherfucker! I knew when you said that I might do that, that's what would happen.
Whoops.
Oh, okay. I got right back up. Okay, cool. Awesome.
Haha.
It is power up time. Did not mean to do that. Okay, so like barely an hour into the game, and like I'm already like packing like way more heat than I was. I know we've been dicking around much longer than that, but in terms of... Well, actually, no.
Attempt?
No, actually, because I don't think I stopped recording.
Oh, God.
Maybe I did? I don't know. I mean, I can always just cut that first part out. I mean, I don't really care one way or the other. Yeah, so now I can fire 3 beams at once, and I can charge and fire 3 beams at once, and I can also continue to get nommed on by this stupid fucking tentacle crab sarlacc piece of shit that you can't actually kill. I always just jump right into it. I don't understand. I guess I just like it. I secretly
Don't
enjoy
die.
it. Anyway. So yeah. Yeah, I don't remember any other game really being like this. I think that I think that people kind of got the same vibe, I think, from Castlevania a little bit. But I never really played that series. I don't know, did you?
I mean, I tried it. I just wasn't into it.
Gotcha. Oh, no. That's way too hot in there.
It's kind of like... I like Doom. You know, like, back in the day, OG Doom, but I was never really into Wolfenstein.
Oh,
I don't really have a great explanation for that. Until, yeah, I played the most recent one. And it was alright, but it was just, like, the parts that were weird in that were just frustrating. It's like, wait, why is it like this? Like, this game is good, ostensibly, so why is it like this?
That was the game that had the promotion campaign about, like, punching Nazis, right? Or killing Nazis?
Yeah. Well, I mean, the entire game is about killing Nazis, so, yeah, it's hard to make an ad about it that doesn't involve, you know, killing Nazis. But, yeah, they did definitely make hay out of, you know, how they've been, you know, punching and killing Nazis for fucking decades. And what cracked me the fuck up was that promotional campaign was supposedly controversial. I'm like, wait. When did it become not politically correct to kill Nazis?
Yeah, like, I mean, who the fuck is getting offended by this shit?
I'm like, I'll give you a hint who's getting offended by this. Nazis. And if they say, well, I'm not a Nazi, but they're a fucking Nazi.
Yeah.
There's literally no way that you can defend Nazis.
And then they'll turn around and call, like, they'll call people, like, snowflakes.
Oh, well,
like,
you know
you're the
who
ones
the real
getting offended.
Nazis are. Yeah.
Like, you're the ones getting offended. Like,
yeah.
Yeah, God, I don't know.
It's like, well, people that joke about hurting Nazis are the real Nazis. Like, that isn't how that works, you hapless idiot.
Yeah, no, definitely not.
Oh, Antifa are the real Nazis. Yes. The people who definitionally are anti-fascist are the real fascists. Sure.
Well, I mean, I think they've done some stuff recently that's been kind of questionable.
Well,
priority-wise.
This just goes to our entire discussion about, you know, how there's libertarian and authoritarian sides of both edges of the political spectrum. You know what I'm saying? Like, not just because somebody's on the left doesn't mean that they're a fucking hippie.
Yeah.
I mean, as I think I've made painfully clear to you.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm further left than just about anyone you know, and yeah, hippie? No, that ain't me.
Yeah. Well, what was I gonna say? What were we talking about immediately before that?
That's a great question. Been bouncing around talking about old video and shit.
Oh, god damn it. I keep, like, stepping into the fucking really hot rooms and getting burned. Oh, man. We're in Norfair right now, and Norfair is always, like, the first area where it's just like, oh shit, like, I feel like I'm in over my head. Because, like, there's just full-on, just total, complete rooms that you just can't go into because you'll die. And you're like, what will I do?
Save the game.
Bomb these motherfuckers. I love that they squeak when they die. It's like, pew, 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 me. Oh, I forgot you could do that. Yeah, there's all sorts of little tricks that you can do in this game that like they kind of took out of the original Metroid games. Like you charge a beam and you roll into a ball, and then just bombs spill out of you. And then like you can charge if you charge your beam and do a jump, like you become like a thing that damages things. Like you can damage enemies by touching them, by jumping into them if you got a beam fully charged, and that's what that flashing yellow thing means. And then like
Yep.
there's other like weird button combination tricks that you can use to like do other things, but they're so like esoteric and require so many resources that I've honestly never committed them to memory. But I'll have to look them up at some point. I've just been winging it so far. Like I haven't really been paying attention to where I am or where I'm going.
Oh, good.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to change that soon, I think, though. Damn it. Okay, hold on. Maybe if I just get a nice, juicy running start through there. I think the next thing I'm getting is the speed boost because I've already... God damn it. Okay.
Haha.
Alright, well...
Maybe you need to curl into a ball for that second one.
Yeah, you can't... I don't think... No, you can't curl into a ball while running. It's hard enough just to crouch while running, which is another trick that you can use once we get the speed booster, but... I can't recall off the top of my head when we get that. I think actually... Okay, hold on. I think actually I have to go back to Brinstar. This game's very non-linear. Like you'll take steps into places you haven't been to before, grab an item, and then without telling you, the game intends for you to like about face and go back the way you came. Because you kind of have to be paying attention to what you know what you can't access as you're as you're doing it. And okay, yeah. Crouch, use a super missile, and then I think that took forever for me to figure out when I first played the game. I was just like, because that just looks like a wall, and then like you wouldn't know it unless you knew to, bomb the wall or whatever, and then it shows you that it's like, oh, this is a block you can only blow up with a super missile. It's just like, oh, okay. And there's this nasty face thing. It's just like, oh god, it's all blue, and there's like jizz dripping from the ceilings. It's like, like, seriously, man, like, I don't know, I don't know. There was something I was gonna say about leftists and your thing about how you're farther left than anybody we know, but you're not a hippie and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
All the different flavors of leftists that I've come across. And just discovering them all, and it's just like there's this huge cross section of people that are pretty wholly unrepresented in American politics.
Yeah, which is why it cracks me up when the fucking Republicans scream about, oh, well, the left, and I'm like,
what
the left
left?
has no fucking representation in this country, you fucking assholes. What left? You mean people that don't want the U.S. to turn into a fucking, theo-fascist state? That left?
Yeah. I don't know. It's just like, it just feels strange that like there's so many other countries that have, they at least have some sort of representation, even if it's not particularly successful representation. They have like, you just like pull up the Wikipedia article on like any democratic country that's like, free in the general sense, and like they've always got like, half a dozen parties, and like there's things represented there that you're just like, wow, really? Like they have that? Cool.
Yeah, like there's an actual Labour Party in the UK. Like we don't have that. And the endlessly running joke is that the fucking Democrats are supposed to represent, like working class people or whatever. And I'm like, you're kidding, right?
Yeah.
There's a story today about how an anchor on MSNBC got fired because he wanted to cover Bernie, and MSNBC was like, "No, you can't do that."
Wait, what? Really?
Yeah, really.
I
Yeah, he
remember
got fired.
actually, like, when fucking, like, during the election, or not during the election, but, like, around the time of the election, I think, you know, because it was, or in the year leading up to the election, I should say, like, I was, you know, I spent a lot of time with Amanda and her family, and, you know, they're very, like, moderate Democrats. They're kind of like Darren's parents, you know?
Oh God, don't. Can we not? I've gotten into it with Darren's parents way too many fucking times because they you know, profess to be progressive or whatever, but like when it really comes down to it, like they voted for fucking Hillary in the primaries. Like, I mean, I don't even give anybody a pass for voting for her in the fucking general, but in the primaries, there is no excuse. There's literally no excuse if you think you're fucking progressive for having voted for that cunt in the primaries.
Well, I don't know. I think I hold the older generation to kind of a different standard, I guess, just because I don't, you know, it's different for older people, you know, like that have been through different things and from different times. I don't know. Oh God. Ah, yes. Okay, awesome. Got him, fed him a nice juicy super missile, and then, oh God, this sucks. Don't let us forget what we were talking about, because I want to continue this conversation once I'm safely away from this disgusting creature. My God.
You wanted to give boomers a pass on the fact that none of them are actually progressive.
Okay, well, I mean, I don't know. I think it's just because I really like Darren's parents, and they're, I don't know, they're...
I don't hate them as people, but, like, his mom in particular, politically, like, we have gotten into it just way too many fucking times.
I mean, like, what is her
and
argument
I think Carol
against
is a beautiful human being, or what is a beautiful human being and whatnot, but for fuck's sake, like, she was tearing into me for supporting Bernie in the primaries, and I'm like, you're fucking kidding, right?
Like, why would you...
You're supposedly, like, supposed to be one of the most progressive people I know, and you think that we should be backing Hillary? Are you out of your fucking mind?
Why? Well, okay, well, I mean, like, I knew that she was that kind of person. Like, I would have expected her to have voted for Hillary like, absent Bernie, but what was her argument against Bernie?
Oh, he's a socialist. I'm like, really? Well, for one, no, he really isn't.
No,
and
he's not.
For two, no, he really, really isn't.
He's not, yeah.
And what bugs oh my God, the label Democratic Socialist pisses me the fuck off. I'm like, what the hell do you think socialism is? Like, what do you actually think socialism is? It's inherently democratic. So saying democratic socialism is either code for some fucking other thing, or it's redundant.
I think
I read practice, about it. It's code for something else. I read which is oh, I fancy myself to the left of Democrats, but I'm probably going to vote for Democrats anyway.
I think that I think that the idea is that from what I've read, just from perusing various political spectrum sites and shit like that, you've got, like, social democracy, which is what they have over in the Nordic countries, where it's, like, basically what we've got here, just with a lot more socialist policies and, you know, benefits and such, you know, which is nice for what it is. Like, I mean, on the spectrum of, you know, where we are versus where we could be. And then you've got, like, and then democratic socialism is supposed to be, like, a little bit further than that, but still with, like, elected officials and still some, like, you know, it's like a little bit farther on that spectrum without being, like, full-on socialism or something. I don't know. I don't fucking know.
Well, I mean, you'd still have democratic representation in socialism. That's the only way it fucking works. I mean, like, you're not... I mean, I just don't fucking get, like, the dictatorship of the proletariat. What the fuck do you think that amounts to? It's democracy. And not what we call democracy when we're bombing brown people. I mean actual democracy.
God.
We need to go bring democracy to... Like, we can't bring what we don't fucking have. Like, it's such a joke.
I remember during the Bush administration, they were talking about installing democracy, and I was like, what is it, on a disk?
Yeah, right, yeah. And moreover, if we have that disk, can we install democracy here? Like, hold up. We've had that disk this entire time and we're not using it? What? I mean, was this, like, an AOL kind of thing where they're just all over the fucking place or something? Like,
is there other patches that we need to run for this shit? Like,
oh, there's definitely some patches we need to install to this particular fucking system.
Oh man, I thought that was I thought that cracked me up when it happened. I was just like, what a. It's just like, it's such a it's like a word salad of just like pieces of euphemisms just to make it sound fancy.
Oh, speaking of political hilarity, how about Trump saying "mission accomplished" and then doubling down on it when he got called on it?
What is it?
He tweeted after he, bombed targets that Russia okayed in Syria. He said "mission accomplished," and everybody's like, the last time a president said "mission accomplished," he's like, I think people should say "mission accomplished" more. I think it's a great phrase. He doubled down on it.
He actually say that?
Yes.
That's such a stupid thing to say. Like,
he said "mission accomplished," and then when he got called on it,
I just like the way it sounds.
He's like, "It sounds great. People should say it more often." I'm like, you fucking idiot. The funniest thing was that one of the people that called him on it was W's press secretary. Added him on Twitter like, maybe not with that phrase. And then he doubled down on it. Like, as if W's press secretary wouldn't be like, a ranking authority on maybe not using that phrase. He doubled down on it. I'm like, oh my fucking god, this guy. But let me get real for a second here. The novelty and quote-unquote fun of pointing out that there's no consistency with, Trump's past and his present, like, really? Like, it's beyond old. Like, well, here's a tweet where he said that you'd have to be insane to bomb Syria. I'm like, yeah, I mean, there's like
everybody that's gonna hear that and nod has already heard it and is already nodding. Like, it's not gonna be changed. You're not gonna be changing anybody's minds. That's like the thing about so much political discourse these days. Is just like people just get further entrenched in the views they already had, which is why I give myself personally a pat on the back for talking to people like you and Johnny Trotsky and fucking like. And then like all my like fucking anarcho-syndicalist fucking like hippie friends and shit that think that that's a solution and whatnot, and
you do see that there's no actual solution to be found there any more than there is in ANCAPism.
I described it to my friend. I was like, this is like the whole sci-fi premise where they fucking, there's like a meteor and it's gonna hit Earth and like we're gonna nuke it and break it into a bunch of smaller pieces. And then those pieces will somehow be less deadly. Yeah. It's like you're just breaking capitalism into a bunch of small little mini capitalisms. It doesn't make them any less capitalism.
Yeah.
And I mean, I don't see how dividing something up is supposed to make it better.
Yeah. I mean, we could have learned that when the U.S. broke the USSR for a moment there, and to everybody was the independent Soviet Republic of himself. Like, I think we learned then that just shattering an existing, society into, well, every man for himself very much does not fucking work.
Yeah. And
unless, of course, you were an international arms dealer at the time, in which case that was a fucking glorious time.
I mean, I've been reading a lot about anarchy recently just to try and get a better and like more serious understanding of it as a, as far as like all the different strains of it, and try and give it like an honest...
all boils down to, if there were no laws and no law enforcement, everything would be great.
Well, I mean,
Are you fucking kidding me with that shit? Like, how
Not
naive
not
could
not
you
all
possibly
like
be?
there's varying extents of that, and I think it's basically, I don't think there's so much of that that just sounds great, and then you look at our country and you instantly see why it wouldn't work, at the very least here. Like you can see how it would work in like maybe and you know how it could have worked historically in much smaller populations or whatever. Maybe I don't know. I
You know
find
the perfect size of a society for anarchy?
what, one person?
Yeah, precisely. One person. Because as soon as there's more than one person, you now instantly have two.
Look at this fucking seahorse shit. Look at this fucking seahorse shit. Look at this. Look at this fucking thing. It's like fucking whack-a-mole. And then he just pops up and he's like, "Hello, I live down here and I just show up and I spit things." What a miserable life. Sorry. Continue.
But yeah, as soon as you have, two people, now you have two sets of not necessarily aligning interests. Uh-oh, now there's a third person. So now you have three special interest groups. And yeah, it doesn't fucking work.
Yeah.
There's no way for it to work.
There's everyone says that it would just be, it's
Oh,
just
if I
like
could
free-
just do whatever I wanted, it would be great. I'm like, yeah,
Yeah.
except everybody else could do whatever they wanted too. It wouldn't fucking work.
Well, it's just
And
like the only guiding law is like this fucking
the nap, which is a fucking joke. Let's
what?
just replace all laws with okay. Let's all individually. There's 7.5 some odd fucking billion people on Earth. Okay, now everybody agree not to fuck with anybody else's shit. That'll work. We won't need any laws or law enforcement. Just everybody agree to play nice with each other. Like there's and the mechanism for recourse is what? You fucking kill somebody that you feel like wronged you, or what? I'm just saying there's no actually viable recourse for if anybody does anything wrong under any form of anarchy. Except what? You just kill anybody that you feel slighted you? Like, I don't think that works either. I mean, yeah, I'm sure if you're an angry teenager, it sounds glorious, but, no. It's not a way for a fucking society to actually operate in the real world.
Well, that's why people like, I don't know, like all people like considering like anarchism seriously always default to these kind of like mutualist or syndicalist kind of things to give it some sort of organizational structure. But what they wind up closer to, rather than, they always wind up closer. In doing so, they always inch farther right.
Yeah.
From like, as opposed to farther up where they should be going. And like it doesn't actually, they don't, and it's like it blows my mind because like so many of these people are hippies, and I'm just like, it's like you're more, if like, yeah, like, punk rock and all that, but I mean, if it's a choice between the state and capitalism, I'm gonna give the state a little more leeway than capitalism. Like I would rather have like some form of minimal governing body than I would rather have some form of minimal economic capitalism.
Yeah, because as soon as you have capitalism, it will grow, it will fester, and it will eventually run its course.
Yeah.
I mean, as a system, there's only one thing capitalism can do, which is expand like fucking cancer until there's no more resources and it kills the host. Hi, welcome to Earth and the, impending ecological apocalypse that we will never avert so long as capitalism exists. There's just no way. There's nothing to be done except saying, hey, private business, you can't fucking do that anymore, which is not a thing under capitalism. Yeah. You can't regulate enough so long as capitalism exists. You cannot pass a regulation saying fossil fuels are illegal now. You cannot use them for anything. We know the technology exists, that nobody has to burn shit and pollute the fucking atmosphere to create energy anymore. There's no fucking need for it. Now, you are not allowed to use fossil fuels anymore. You can't do that under capitalism.
Yeah.
The fucking lobbying groups it'll never fucking happen. Like, there's just no way. So we are doomed to turn this planet into Venus 2 unless we kill capitalism. It will kill us if we don't kill it.
Yeah. And it's like, you know, and like we have the means to do all this like right now. Like it's not like a thing that we're like still working on. Like
it's like, oh no, the technology doesn't exist. Shit, what do we do? No, we have all the tech we need to produce all the power we need. The only thing preventing it from happening is the fact that they've artificially inflated the quote-unquote cost of creating these other kinds of power plants and shit so that they can continue making money off of pollution, is what it amounts to. Like, there's no actual reason. The materials and the people that know how to do the shit exists. What's preventing us from replacing all the fucking fossil fuel related energy is capitalism.
Do you think any of it will change
when make like solar panels? No, we can make them. The shit exists. This artificial scarcity of resources called money is the only thing preventing us from going completely renewable on all the energy we need and then some.
I feel like I should have the ice beam by now, and it's actually fucking me up that I don't have it.
Wouldn't it just melt?
Very funny.
There's me using logic again. Whoops, my bad.
Yeah, no, I think I was supposed to get the ice beam, and I just completely spaced on it. And I don't know what I'm doing now. Shit. Backtracking time. Woohoo.
Hooray!
Let me see if there's a faster way to do it, though. Yeah, no, I mean... You just... sometimes I wonder if, like, maybe when the current generation of CEOs all dies off... Like, because everyone... Like, who's the
No, because they all have kids who are young Republicans now who will just keep the game going. I mean, you know, the argument that, oh, well, you know, the younger generation always leans further left than the previous one. Yeah, but the problem is the same capitalist overlord douchebags that have always been in charge, and I mean since the end of feudalism, they procreated.
Yeah, they have the most kids.
And their progeny... Well, they don't have the most kids. The poor have the most kids because, well, they're too fucking dumb to not just spit out endless numbers of children that they can't afford. But I'm not ragging on poor people. I'm just saying that's a fact of life. It's sad, but it's true, and that's kind of the entire plot for Idiocracy. Which we're pretty much at this point. Like, we're really not far away from, like, you know, hosing down the crops with Gatorade. Like, it's we're not too many generations removed from that being a thing if we let capitalism continue on. But yeah, the rich kids are going to want to stay rich because they have no actual skills. So they're going to want to continue to, you know, do effectively nothing and get to continue to have the lifestyle to which they've become accustomed, which leads to Ginsu's final solution.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just... Do you think there's any percentage of them that are just like, you know... I always like to hope that, like, maybe, like, there's some of those rich kids that would just rather, like, do something different.
Well, I mean, I didn't come from abject poverty. I mean, like I said before, like, I lived in a country club, and Dad was making not the stupidest amount of money, but a stupid amount of money when I was in high school, and I knew then. I didn't really become a commie until I saw the business end of capitalism in Iraq, but I mean, I knew then that something about this shit didn't seem right, and I really thought that all these people needed to be taken down a peg. Especially the housewives in the country clubs, man. They're just the worst human beings on earth. Like, they contribute literally nothing to society unless you consider buying Escalades and fucking Range Rovers and Navigators to be contributing to society. It's not. But, like, they do nothing but just be awful fucking people. And again, not 100% of them, but as a group, it's easy to paint them all with the same brush. You know what I'm saying?
Like, people, give me an impression.
Give you an impression?
Oh, do it. I think...
Oh my god, I'm just talking about, like, the shit I would overhear, like, just around the neighborhood. It's just like, oh, well, did you hear that, you know, like, so-and-so, like, just the pettiest fucking shit. And it's like, you know there are real problems in the world, right? And this is this is what you choose to spend all of your time on, slinging shit at each other behind each other's backs about, oh, well, so-and-so didn't make as much this year as he did last year. Like, meanwhile, what the fuck did you bitches contribute to society? Nothing. Like, it just drove me nuts that they were all just such catty fucking bitches. And of course you'd hear, oh well, so-and-so's husband didn't make as much this year, and oh look, they're getting divorced. I mean, just like oh my god, it was just the worst of humanity I've seen. Probably needed to crouch there.
No, it doesn't.
Unless you can go above.
I feel like that. Hold on.
Because I know you can.
I thought I checked that before.
There are bombs and you can go below, but maybe you can roll over part of that?
I don't think so. Like, I know the ice beam is over in this general area somewhere, and I'm gonna just mash the start button as hard as I can so I can check. Shit, I don't have much of anything right now. As far as map going. Shit. It's something somewhere. I just don't know. Hold on, maybe it's down here. Do I need to check? No, I can't get there from that side. There's an ice beam somewhere, and I need to find it because it's really kind of like I should have it by now. It's like one of the first things that you get when you come here. I just can't.
Unless it isn't.
I'm fairly certain that it is. Like I'm not having too many doubts about it. We're saying, okay, that was the high jump boots, and then the ice beam is.
While we're just running around, before I forget where we were on my point, like,
yeah,
anytime, someone from our generation wants to talk about the failings of capitalism, it's like, oh, you're so entitled. But it's not entitled when the rich kids just want to continue contributing nothing to society and just doing whatever the fuck they want, and you know what I'm saying? Like, that's not entitled. But pointing out that maybe, just maybe, the invisible hand doesn't work well for everyone, that's entitled. What?
Yeah, no, if you're like, if you came from any degree better than abject poverty, you're supposed to continue to be part of the problem instead of complaining? What?
Yeah.
Like, how does that make any logical sense? Like, shut the fuck up.
Yeah, it's like, oh, how dare you? I'm like,
how dare you not just be quiet and continue on with your lot in the
You know your fucking caste that you were born into. Shut the fuck up and keep pretending that if you make other people even richer, that maybe one day they'll let you, just incrementally improve your quality of life.
It's just like people complaining is like worse than, it's just like that's the only thing that's like the thing that people, it's like the ultimate evil is like anybody complaining about anything. It doesn't matter like how justified it is. It's just like if anybody points out that there's a problem, it's just like, how dare they? It's like the worst thing they could possibly do. I don't know.
It's basically heresy to point out that there could even maybe be any faults with capitalism. It's heresy. Seriously, it's like a fucking religion. Like, you are not allowed to question capitalism.
Yeah, like even, I like caught my family off guard like this past holiday, like, because there was some, because most of my little cousins are of the age where they can start having like political opinions and shit, and then of course my uncle, being a working stiff who has like been absolutely fucked by the system in every conceivable way. He's of course got some feelings on the subject.
Well, that's what really bugs me about my dad is he's been fucked by capitalism every which way. I mean, he got completely hosed and lost everything he'd ever earned when the .com bubble burst. Right? He got completely fucked by a company that he worked for where he was doing really well, not letting him in on the secret that they were about to basically kill the fucking company, and he got screwed there. I mean, he got screwed out of Apple. And it's like, how can you continue to think that corporate America is ever going to work for your interests? I mean, it's been proven to you time and time again that this system does not give a flying fuck about you. The fact that you've been in the right place at the right time to claw your way back out of it a few times doesn't mean that you're always going to be able to. Like, I just... The survivorship bias is just insanity. It's like, you really think it's okay that just random shit can happen in the fucking stock market, and now you have nothing that you worked for, right? Like, how does that not... I just don't get how it doesn't fucking bother him. I mean, it doesn't matter to me anymore because I'm just not talking to him ever again. After our last spat, he made it abundantly clear that he wanted nothing to do with me, and I am totally on board with that. I don't fucking get how you can keep your blinders on that fucking hard so as to not see that you are just continuing to lick the boot that's stepping on your fucking neck. I don't fucking get it. Because the greatest defenders of capitalism are the ones that it's harming the most.
Yeah, no, that's definitely, and that's why I don't buy this whole, like, all the, like, neo-Marxist fucking, rhetoric of so many of my other, like, hard left sort of acquaintances and friends, because they're like, oh, well, if we just follow this recipe like so, then you see, of course, naturally, the working class of America will fucking... And like, no, they fucking won't.
Yeah, that's why Johnny Trotsky cracks me the fuck up, is because it's like, dude, like, well, yeah, what he'll do, I've read Marx too, but, like, you're not seeing that the working class knows good and well that they're being fucked over and they're still not rising up. Like, dude, like, yeah, I've read the fantasy... I've read all the fucking socialist, like, fantasy canon too, but that doesn't mean IRL in this timeline that people are ever actually going to, as a total, class, rise up. I mean, like, as the ancient saying goes, like, always believe in the power of a small group of concerned citizens to change the world because it's the only thing that ever has. Like, people, I think especially in this country, like, the mythology leads people to believe that, like, the American Revolution was 100% of good red-blooded Americans rose up to fight off the Brit. No! It was a very small group of mostly wealthy people that just didn't want to pay British taxes anymore and decided, you know what, fuck it, let's overthrow them. And they did all manner of sketchy shit to raise an army and, force them to fight to set up this fucking country. So I think the problem is... Yeah,
like how do you think they got here? I mean, you think poor people in England had access to fucking boats and were able to go and start colonies?
Yeah.
Like what resources did they think the poor or even middle class, such as it was, people back then had?
Yeah.
Like, no. And that's the other thing, like Johnny Trotsky, like, fucking, I caught him on, like, one of his posts. He was like, fucking, he would actually rather, like, he hates Democrats, I think, even more than you do, and he would actually go so far. He would actually go so far.
I'd have that celebrity deathmatch.
He would actually go so far as to appeal to Republican rhetoric in order to get people to side with, his version of socialism or communism. Like, he would actually, go so far as to...
Well, the thing is, it's easy to appeal to Republican rhetoric in a way that, has a populist message. See also the current fucking president. Well, you know what I'm saying? Like, because the Republicans fancy themselves as, being for freedom and, like, the working man and whatnot, right? Like, so it's not hard to appeal to the bullshit that they put in their brochures.
But when it comes to, like,
different actual from that. Philosophy, it's different.
It was different, though. It wasn't something that, like, you could get behind on that level. It was something else that was just, like, really out of character for anybody espousing any kind of left philosophy. It was something... I don't remember what it was. It was something I disagreed with. I can tell you that much right now. And I was just like, you know, why would we want to fucking, you know, basically, you know, like these people are remaining willfully ignorant. All the information they need is right in front of them. Like, why do we want to fucking basically, you know, try and, I don't know. It was just some like, it was a post that didn't read like it was being made by a socialist or a communist. It read like it was being made by a Republican, and I was just like, you know, if you continue to just put out this shit that, you know, doesn't point out the evils on both sides, then, you know, because they're both, you know, they're both a part of the capitalist system that we have. So, you know, like people, anybody who, you know, anybody that might, you know, hear you or read any of this that, you know, would agree with this is probably going to be, you know, this is really just appealing to Republicans, pretty much. And it's just like, you know, why wouldn't I want to appeal to Republicans? And I'm like, yeah, but you should appeal to Republicans by talking like a, you know, not necessarily, I don't know. I'm going in circles, obviously, but like...
Well, the thing is, you're not gonna make the Republicans be communists. It's not going to happen. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's a fucking fever dream to think that you're ever actually going to convince 100% of the people. Like, and I think the reason why people think that that's a fucking thing is because of the mythology of the American Revolution that we all continue to tell ourselves. Like, we pretend as if everybody wanted to declare independence and everybody was in favor of this new form of government and everything, and when in fact, fucking no. I mean, and it took approximately 0 time for even the founding fathers to shatter into factions. Like, it just... There was never consensus about this. Which is why this is the dumbest form of government that's ever fucking existed, is because it was created by a small minority to serve their particular interests, and, like, then we pretend as if it's supposed to serve everybody, when it was never envisioned or designed to do so. Like, the American experiment seemed like a great idea to the guys that forced it into being, but it was never a populist thing.
That reminds me, actually.
The American notion of freedom has always been an economic one, and of course when we talk about economic freedom, that's code for the rich get to do whatever the fuck they want.
I think I just found a breakthrough. Okay, is this it? Is this it? Am I almost there? That actually reminds me, fucking... like, watching The West Wing and, like, hearing them argue about, like, what the founding fathers, you know, may or may not have intended for X, Y, or Z.
Yeah.
You know, you always got to wonder, like what, you know, how out of touch is even this show, which is like, I don't know. I'm wondering what your thoughts are on that. Like, how much do you actually relate to the people in the show, or do you just think it's a good show?
Well, 1, it's a spectacular show, but 2, I mean, keep watching and you'll find that they're arguing about all the exact same shit that we're still arguing about in American politics today. And that's because none of these issues ever get solved, because we forced, on multiple occasions, we forced a whole lot of people with a whole lot of different beliefs to all be in one country.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I think I've said to you before, I think there's a strong fucking case for the Civil War never should have been fought.
Explain?
Explain?
I don't understand.
Well, the red states and the blue states clearly are 2 vastly different places, like, as far as political ideology goes. Right? Yeah. So, if we had just gone off, and people are like, oh no, well, we had to defeat slavery. I'm like, well, you say that, but I don't think slavery possibly could have survived to this point. Like, I don't think it could have survived much longer anyway, because, like, slave revolts and overthrows of government had already happened in other places. Like, Haiti, for example, had already overthrown, you know, their French masters, like, while we were dicking around with the American Revolution. So, I mean, I don't think that slavery would have continued on anyway. And I don't think that...
We didn't necessarily...
I don't think that we had to do the Civil War and forcing reunification in order to end slavery. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't think we had to... At the very least, I don't think we had to force reunification. You know what I'm saying? Like, we could have gone down there and be like, no, fuck you, you're not going to have slavery. Just like we go and impose our fucking will on any other country that does something we don't like. You know what I'm saying? That could have been the beginning of, America World Police. Uh, just going down to the Confederacy and saying, no, you're not going to have slavery. We're not going to have our neighbors allowing slavery, right?
Okay.
As opposed to forcing the Confederacy back into being part of the United States, which, even if there hadn't been massive political divides in the United States before, that just created even bigger divides than there were before.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
I do kind of see what you're saying. Like, I mean, like,
and it's not as cut and dry now that it's just like south of the Mason-Dixon is red states and north are blue states. It's not that cut and dry now.
Oh, I've unfortunately found that out firsthand.
Yeah, right. So it's not that cut and dry now, but I think it could have evolved that way if all of the racist, intolerant, right-wing nut jobs had all just moved south once the Confederacy was a thing. They could have just let them have their own fucking bullshit down there and let the North be, quote-unquote, left. And I think it would have been interesting to see how the fuck that evolved, which is why I'm sad that Benioff and Weiss's, concept for the show Confederacy isn't going to happen because people are like, oh my god, you can't even talk about slavery potentially still existing. I'm like, but Handmaid's Tale is okay?
But
like,
what?
Have you seen the show Handmaid's Tale? Oh, it's insane. It's like, oh my god, it's theocracy all the way to the fucking maximum, and fucking women, well, not all women, but a lot of women are enslaved for reproductive purposes, and it's fucking awful. It's an amazing show. The world, though, that, exists in that show is fucking heinous. And that's okay. But no, you can't even talk about what if the Confederacy still exists. Oh, by the way, there's this show called Man in the High Castle, which talks about if the Axis had won World War II, that's fine. But no, you can't even talk about if the Confederacy still existed. It raises way too many fucking questions and potentially too many really valid points about the Union might have settled other fucking planets.
I feel like
for being dragged down by the fucking South.
That is very. I see where you're going with this. Although I feel like this is a conversation that couldn't really be taken too much farther without input from a black person. Is that? Do you see?
No, I hate that. The whole, oh no, you're white. You're
no. I'm just saying, like, before we say that, because I mean, I would like to think that the whole idea behind this is basically like, basically by the Union going in and playing Super Mario to fucking the princess of slavery and rescuing them from the South. Fucking, like, so now we'll never know if they could have, like you said, had a slave revolt and, like, done it themselves.
I honestly think that the Union robbed the black people of this country of their own fucking agency to overthrow slavery, which I think that they were gonna do in short order any fucking how. I mean, like, there was all sorts of, like, the Underground Railroad was already a thing, and, like, it was already happening.
I guess
I think that a bunch of do-gooder fucking, ancestors of Hillary voters up north were like, oh no, we gotta go stop that shit. It was just the dawn of white guilt, basically.
Well, and okay, fucking, so, like, I guess what I'm asking is that I'd be curious to see, like, I'd be curious to hear a black person's perspective on what we're saying right now.
Well, you say a black person's perspective, acting as if they all think the same way. Because I can think of two black people that I know that would have completely opposite views on this topic. So, yeah, while we're worried about, oh, well, maybe we're the wrong color to make this judgment, like, not even all of them would agree on this fucking topic.
I'm sure they wouldn't.
Which is why I think the whole, oh, well, we got to get a person with this particular, ratio of fucking, melanin to weigh in on this. It's just,
no,
it's
but, like, there's
fucking...
but, like, it's just a matter of, there are certain things that we, like, I don't think that's a perspective necessarily that every...
Yeah, here's where that all breaks down.
Okay.
No black person we know experienced slavery, so it's not as if, oh, well, we got to go ask someone that really knows this shit.
No, like, but I mean, like, they still, like, I don't know. Like, I still feel like
they're going to feel differently about it because they've internalized something that didn't happen to them or anyone they've ever known. That's something that really bugs me, and bring on the fucking hate, because I catch it from every goddamn angle. Just anybody that ever hears or watches this, I just don't care. Come at me. I'll have this fight with anyone. There's no people alive today that experienced slavery in the United States. The fact that black people, and not all black people, but some black people, have chosen it as their hill to die on, that they want reparations for something that may or may not have happened to someone that may or may not have been related to them, you know, a long-ass time ago. Yeah, what the fuck ever. Like, really, what the fuck ever. It's over now, and at some point, we need to get past it. And yeah, that's kind of part of my fucking platform for getting rid of capitalism is, yes, I understand that black people as a whole are still wildly disadvantaged as a result of, you know, the fact that they're starting from way after the white folk are starting from, as a result of the fact that, you know, they haven't been free here for as long. I get that,
yeah.
But the problem isn't, oh, well, slavery existed and we need to make reparations. No, the problem is capitalism still exists. If you get rid of capitalism, all of a sudden the privilege and the advantage and all that bullshit goes away. Like, we really don't need to continue to play into fucking racial politics when we could solve all of these problems.
That is very fair.
Because there's plenty of black people that are better off than some poor white people, for fuck's sake. It's not across the board that black people are, you know, more fucked over. And as far as, oh, but cops are racist, okay, well, that's another issue that we can deal with that has nothing to do with what color you are, and has everything to do with the fact that they were raised like shit.
Ginsu, help, I'm stuck.
I don't know what to fucking tell you, man. I've never seen anybody take this long to play this game.
Fuck you.
I'm just saying, like, I've never seen anybody take the route that you've taken, and it's not like I've memorized the map, because I don't care.
I've also been talking to you this entire time, and trying to...
Well, look at the map and see if there's anywhere you haven't gone.
No, I mean, I'm stuck in, like, this particular room. And
can you not bomb that shit below you, where those 4 blocks are under that? Can you not, like, bomb down out of there?
Those are power bomb things, and I don't have power bombs yet. I got the ice beam, so that's awesome, but right. I don't know how to. I don't know how to escape here. I don't know how to escape from this hell. Help me.
Okay, so what's further back to the left?
Oh my god, I'm a fucking idiot. I'm a fucking idiot. Never mind. I remember.
Yeah. Okay.
I love these. I love these little face things on the wall. These things. They're like. Bleh.
Yep.
Bleh. Bleh. Sorry. Anyway. Continue.
But yeah,
you're making good points.
I think that show, especially because it's from the guys that brought us Game of Thrones, for Christ's sake, you know it would have been a good show.
Yeah.
And you know that their platform wasn't been, man, it would have been fucking awesome if slavery still existed. That wasn't the point of the fucking show, but everybody acted as if it was.
Wait,
as if it was like...
Hold on.
As if it was like, oh, it would be so great if slavery still existed.
Wait,
like, that was never the idea.
What? Wait, what are we talking about now? You've lost me.
We're talking about the show Confederacy.
Oh. I thought we were talking about West Wing. I was like, wait a minute, when does that come in?
But yeah, no, like, everybody acted as if the entire point of the show was, it would be so great if slavery still existed, and obviously it's not. Just like the point of The Handmaid's Tale is not, man, it would be fucking great if women didn't have rights. Like, that's not the fucking point of the show.
I haven't seen either of these shows, so I'm not fit to comment. But
well, you're never going to see Confederacy because it's never going to get made because, you know, like, white guilt's way stronger than whatever. It just... my entire point bringing it up was, I think the real reason why people in the powers that be don't want it to, you know, ever see air is then people would realize, hey, wait a minute, maybe forcing reunification wasn't good in the long term. But yeah, I just think that, like, the entire, like, fighting the Civil War for the sake of ending slavery is just, like, white paternalism at its worst, since slavery was probably on its way out anyway. I think that going to fight the Civil War to free the slaves, rob them of their own agency to do so, and we know that black people are capable of throwing off the fucking yoke of slavery because they did it in Haiti, amongst other places. They didn't get to do it here.
Would
And
they have
then
been
on
able
top of
to,
that,
given how like rich and powerful so many people in the South were, though?
given how okay, look at Haiti. Look at how rich and powerful the fucking French were.
I don't know.
I mean, I'm just saying, like, I mean, the thing is, like, I forget the exact numbers, but slaves outnumbered the honkies, like, to an alarming degree in the South. So it wouldn't even matter how quote unquote rich or powerful they were when, you know, the black folks started killing the white folks. You know what I'm saying? Like, just in sheer numbers, they'd have won that. And as soon as they get their hands on some actual weapons, oh my god, it's over.
Yeah, I do have to say, like, I that does get a little bit, you know, a lot of times I wish I could just kind of like forget that I was born in the South.
Oh,
like,
same here, bro.
Well,
But
I mean,
seriously,
yeah,
think,
but like,
think
didn't
think of it this way?
your
So-
family hasn't even been in the South that long, though, right? Like, aren't both of your parents immigrants?
Well,
Or
my dad's a carpetbagger. My mom is from further south than any of your people.
Hey, where's-
Because, yeah, my mom was born in Havana.
Okay,
But,
so
no,
and
seriously,
you're-
I was born in Tennessee, though. Regardless of where the fuck my people came from,
No,
was
I know,
born in
but
fucking
like-
Tennessee, and I've lived most of my life in Georgia.
But if it was
So-
just you that was born there, like, you have agency over that. Whereas if you have family that,
Not so much.
Well, no,
because
I
my
mean-
family's here now. I mean,
Well,
I don't have
yeah,
any more
but
agency
they
than
don't-
capitalism is allowed,
okay, no, but
which
listen,
is approximately none.
listen.
If I had actual agency to live where the fuck I wanted,
No,
I'd be coming to you
no.
live from Seattle right now.
No. That's not what I'm saying. God damn. Fucking no. I'm saying that like we're okay. So your mom's from Havana and your dad is from where?
St. Louis.
St. Louis, Missouri.
Yeah.
Okay.
No,
So,
the other St. Louis.
I mean, I don't know. Like fucking.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's whatever.
St. Louis, Nebraska.
Sure, whatever. Fucking. But like, were his parents also from? Like your grandparents and
For
your
a
dad's?
few generations. I mean, eventually, far enough back, the O'Conaghan family came from Ireland during the famine.
Gotcha. So like, wait, that wasn't that long ago, though, was it? That was like,
What, late 1800s something? I don't know. I'm way less interested in that side of my family tree.
yeah.
Mostly because I'm way further removed from it. I mean, like, my abuelo and abuela came here with my
Yeah.
mom and my uncle
I'm
during
far-
the fucking Cuban Revolution, which was, you know, just before I was born, essentially.
Basically, Ginsu. I'm far whiter than Ginsu is.
Yeah, I'm literally first generation American on mom's side.
Well, yeah, but first generation American from a non-white country.
Well,
I'm second generation American on my dad's side, but it's from Sweden, so
Right.
little different.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, and the thing is, I don't know that Swedes were ever not considered white in this country, because, like, when my dad's family came from Ireland, there were Irish aren't allowed in here signs and shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, like I never really understood any kind of logic behind that whatsoever.
Oh,
it's
it was-
like, what,
it
did,
was
did
just-
Irish ever used to have like slightly different colored skin?
No, they were always the pastiest motherfuckers on earth, but the thing was that there was a difference at the time between rich white people and poor white people, and there were a lot more poor white people from Ireland, so we don't even consider them white because, well, they may as well be, I'm not going to say the word, but you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah. Yeah, and like,
it was never about they weren't fucking white, it was about they're not rich like white people should be. Manifest destiny, yeah!
but what I was saying with that whole like agency thing or whatever is that like your dad's family, like I know, was Missouri technically part of the Confederacy? I can't remember. Wasn't
He
it kind
always likes to point out that Missouri seceded, but they seceded. One, they're north of the Mason-Dixon, and two, they seceded like practically at the end of the fucking war, and no major battle was fought in or by people from Missouri.
Okay, well,
So I
basically,
call the carpetbaggers to piss him off because technically they seceded, but it never mattered that they did.
well, what I'm saying is that nobody on your mom or your dad's side of the family has any kind of like Southern pride, whereas my mom's side of the
Yeah.
family actually has a little bit of that. Even
What
though
I'm
they're
saying is,
even though
I'm
they're-
sick of getting shit on for being white when I can't find any evidence that anyone in my family tree ever owned people. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
Like,
yeah, if you want to get down in the dirt about
that'll
that. I'm just talking about,
well,
like,
I
when
mean,
I
when we're
had...
talking about whether or not white people can talk about slavery as an issue, I'm like, I can't find any evidence that my people ever owned people. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it's not like I have something to gain by saying the Civil War shouldn't have been fought. You know what I'm saying? It's not like, man, I wish we still had a fucking plantation. And like, no, that's not where I'm coming from. Where I'm coming from is, I think that like black people in this country as a like disgusting caricature, as we have to speak of groups in politics. But I think that they'd probably be a lot less pissed off and probably would have felt more like they got theirs if they'd actually been allowed their own fucking agency to end slavery, which I swear to God they would have done. Like, they were on the cusp of doing anyway, and definitely would have done if only white paternalism in the North hadn't said, no, we have to go do it for them.
What I was saying was, going back to like the political discussions that I was having with my family, is that like I was shocked to find that basically my, you know, when we started talking about like fucking like, I don't know, somehow we got on the topic of like Confederate monuments, and like my uncle defended them, and I was like, wait, what? Why would you have a dog in that fight? And he was like, well, I'm from the South. And I'm like, I don't understand. Why? Like, I mean, why would you care? I don't know. It made me confused and like all different kinds of emotions at the same time. And then my mom, who, you know, is the only person in my family really that I feel like knows me. Like, you know, I felt like my mom kind of like understood a lot better because, I don't know. I feel like my mom's always been pretty, you know, pretty liberal. I mean, you know, all things considered, just I don't know, she never really kind of identified one way or the other, but you know, she was like you know, she was a hippie back in the day, and so she had, you know, she has some pretty progressive views on things, and she always kind of like, I know I was brought up with a healthy rejection of anything that might be, you know, racist insofar, and I don't know how much of that was guilt, I don't know how much of that was genuine morality or what. I mean, I feel like my I know I didn't get any of that from my dad, because my dad wasn't from the South. He moved to the South to be with my mom, but he was from Chicago, and then his parents were from Sweden. So you know, I don't know, but I was just weirded out to find that like my mom's side of the family would have anything to say about like not having like gigantic statues of Confederate generals, I guess.
Here's the thing, though. Here's where I'm coming from. I think they should leave the fucking Confederate monuments exactly where they are. Because otherwise, what we're doing eventually, and again, look at a long enough timetable here for this to make sense, eventually what you're doing is participating in revisionist history. Like, lest anyone ever fucking forget exactly what the hell happened, I think they should leave all those monuments exactly where the fuck they are. And not because I think that it's great what those fucking racist assholes did, but so that people can look and go, holy fucking shit, what happened here? In the future, as opposed to, oh, well, you know, let's take down this, you know, statue of this racist motherfucker and, you know, put up a statue of, you know, some heroic black person. No, let's remember the bad parts of our history, lest we fucking repeat them.
I think that's what is the counter argument to that? Like, oh, there's no statues of Hitler, and we don't need statues to remember him, or something like that.
There were statues of Hitler. Germany tore them all down, and they're worse about revisionist history than anyone. You're not allowed to talk about Nazis or, you know, the Third Reich or, you know, the Holocaust or anything. They don't deny it, but you're not allowed to talk about it either.
What, so like Godwin's Law is a felony over there or some shit?
Yeah. Yeah, and we had some people in my unit that almost got fucking, like, strung up. Like, we hopped through Berlin, you know, like, as a layover when we were flying in and out of the Middle East, and, like, some people almost, like, legitimately got in serious fucking trouble for making Nazi jokes while we were in Germany. Like, you can't fucking talk about that shit. And, I mean, honestly, I think in the long term, it's just going to lead to that kind of shit coming back. I mean, like,
I mean,
What
isn't
was it?
that
There was a
yes and
study
no? But I mean,
recently
like,
about
isn't
a
that?
resurgence of anti-Semitism in Germany, and it's probably because no one's ever allowed to talk about Nazis. Like, you idiots tried that once.
But on the other
Like,
hand, do you want to take free speech away for neo-Nazis in America?
yeah. I don't want to rewrite history. I want them dead. There's a difference. Like, there's a difference between tearing down a statue and killing people. Like, I don't think that that's difficult to see. Like,
Yeah.
I don't think we should try to rewrite history and act as if bad things never happened and bad people never existed. I think we should probably deal with the bad people and remember that they fucking existed, lest we allow them to rise again. You know, that's where I'm at.
Yeah. I guess like
Absolutely kill them. Leave all their monuments. We don't want to forgive. We don't want to forget this shit. But at the same time, yeah, if there's any of them still running around, let's shink. Deal with that.
Yeah, I think people would be less inclined to even worry about it if the whole
'Cause
climate of the
seriously,
country was just different.
Here's the problem, and yeah, this is slippery slope, but it's pretty much how humans operate. Okay, so you tear down the monuments. What's next? We start burning some books. Like, I mean, I'm just saying, like, logically, what follows after you tear down the monuments? What do? We stop teaching about the fact that slavery ever existed. Like, do we want to? Is that where we want to go? Do we want to act as if the Confederacy was never a thing? As if the Civil War didn't happen? Like really, where does it stop? Because when you start like erasing, little bits of history to try to appease people, where do you stop? And yes, I led this with saying, sure, it's slippery slope, but I mean, really, that's kind of how the fucking Vox Populi works, is by slippery slope. So
I never understood it because I don't know. I guess, and I don't know how to feel about it because I never saw a Confederate statue that made me, and I've never seen a statue, period, that really inspired me. Why do we even have statues of fucking anything?
Because people are egomaniacs.
Can we just get rid of all statues?
I mean, that's an option, but at the same time, again, we're talking about essentially revising history when you do that.
But how is that? How is a statue? It's not a history book. It's a statue.
Right, but I mean, it's historical because somebody put that there a long time ago, and why did they do it? Well, let's think about it.
Well, that implies that the statue is some sort of document. That's like that you're going.
No, it's a document. It's a fucking monument.
I guess. I don't know.
I mean, like, for example, obviously the rule of the pharaohs was fucking awful in Egypt, so let's go tear down all the pyramids.
Oh, well, yeah. That's...
I'm just saying, like, yeah, I know history isn't really all that old in the U.S., but let's think about where shit's a little bit older. So yeah, let's tear down all the pyramids because slavery in Egypt was awful, right? Like, no, maybe let's not.
God, can I just point out how gross this fucking room is? Ugh, Jesus. Being like sucked on by ball sacks with teeth.
It's the Cooch of Doom.
What the fuck? There's so many rooms like this in this game, like, that are even more fucked up than this. You're just like, what even is this? Like, God forbid they ever make a bestiary for this game. I wouldn't even... And what are the spikes on the ceiling? Like, are those... Is that a growth of a living thing?
Probably.
And why are the gooches spitting out bugs? There's just so many anatomical, biological questions about the shit that happens in this game. And it's a lot more open to interpretation in 2D than it is in 3D. In 2D, it's just, I don't know, it's a little spookier. Anyway. We've got these little caterpillars emerging from their cocoons, and then I freeze dry them with my liquid nitro gun.
But yeah, back to the topic. Yeah, I don't think we should try to paint over the gnarly parts of history because I mean we're pretty good at repeating history any fucking way without acting as if bad people never existed.
Yeah, and I mean I don't know.
Power bomb.
Yay, power bombs! Yeah, I can blow go ahead and show you. It's just like. It's definitely I don't know. They're more a tool than a weapon, but they do a lot of damage to things when you do use them to kill things. But they're kind of rare and not easy to refill, so you kind of want to use them only when you have to, or when there's a yellow door that requires it, like that one. But that's back the way we came, so we don't really care about that. I don't think. Anyway, back to the topic.
The topic. Yeah, it just I really think that when you start like tearing down monuments and shit, you're trying to revise history.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, this might be a really insensitive thing to say, and if so, forgive me, anybody watching. But like, don't most trauma victims eventually have to? Isn't part of getting over that, you know, kind of accepting that it happened and then.
Yeah, that's kind of the most important part of like getting over trauma is, you know, accepting what the fuck happened, you know, confronting it, facing it, and dealing with the fact that it exists. I mean, like, yeah, you can't get over something by pretending it didn't happen. I mean, that you're setting yourself up for like way worse later on. And I'm just talking about personal trauma. Like, we're not even talking about fucking like slavery as an institution now. I'm just saying an individual with individual trauma has to learn to accept, you know, what happened and deal with it, and not just, you know, try to forget, like, because that doesn't fucking work.
My phone's going off in the other room. Hopefully you can't hear it.
No, I can't.
All right, cool. I don't feel like getting up and silencing it. Probably some. I keep getting I keep getting calls from numbers in Georgia that look a lot like my number. It's like the last 4 digits are different, and it's like a thing going around, and like I never answer them, but it's just like, I don't know, it's weird.
I essentially never answer my phone anymore. I mean, it's nothing but fucking spam calls. Just nothing but. I mean, like, every time my phone rings, I glance at my phone and the background of the screen is red, which is to say that, you know, it's flagged that as a potential spam call. So I basically never answer the phone because nobody calls me. I mean, you know, like Facebook Messenger, Discord, or text or whatever. I just like don't talk on the phone. It's just not a thing.
So yeah, now we're back up near the surface, but we've emerged on a different side. So you'll recognize this whole area kind of looks familiar.
Yep.
Popped back up on the other side of Crateria, as it's called. I don't know, like that's like super duper original.
Mm-hmm.
I think though that we can. Okay, yeah, now we're back out here by our ship. Only we have to... Hold on. Oh, damn it. How does this work? Hold on. Maybe... Okay, maybe if I get a nice running start, it'll let me... Can I do it?
Plow through all that?
Yeah! Look at that shit. That's like one of the most fun things to do in this game is play with the speed booster.
I think fucking air off that.
I think actually, hold on. This is the thing that Aaron was trying to do in Game Grumps that he couldn't. Yeah, and I just look at that. And I just crashed into the fucking atmosphere. What the fuck?
Oh. Okay, that's a jump.
Yeah, like Aaron tried to do that forever in Game Grumps and like couldn't get it right.
Well, you know, Aaron.
I'm just gonna point out that like I'm gonna take every opportunity, as I always do, even when I'm playing alone, to say I'm not doing as bad as the Game Grumps. Again, not to say that they're not anything against them, because they're hilarious and they do what they can while being hilarious, and I accept that. And I'm not one of the people that complained about their gameplay.
I don't watch Game Grumps to like see professional gameplay. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, it seems like no matter how often you fucking say that, people get upset about it.
yeah, it's like that's not why I watch Game Grumps. I watch Game Grumps because they're funny and shit.
You know,
but,
I think that's why.
I mean, honestly,
I think that's why
when I get sick of Game Grumps,
I think that's why
it's because they suck at video games.
I think that's actually that might actually be, I think, maybe why. And I'm not a total fanboy that like watches all their like behind the scenes shit, mostly because it would just depress me.
Oh, yes, it would.
Yeah,
their office.
Yeah, no. I don't even want to hear it. I don't
know.
even want to hear it. I don't even fucking
you
want
really
to hear
don't.
it. I don't want to hear it. Like, don't want to hear it. All right.
Nope.
So, what was I saying? Oh, yeah. Like, damn it. I got so like wrapped up in trying to get you not to make me hear it, but now I forgot completely what I was gonna fucking say.
You don't watch their behind the scenes shit, or
so I don't know. I think part of the reason why they play the games that they do is because if they played any like really good game that people have like an opinion about, then people would not. Because I think people subconsciously they want to see a game that they're like a huge fan of be played well. And it makes them sad to see it not played well. And so I think that's
when
maybe...
you're watching someone that makes bank playing video games for a living and they're worse at a video game than you are, it's not fun.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, anytime they play a game that I've played and I'm better at it than they are, I'm like, why do you assholes get to do this for a living? You know what I'm saying? Like, that's... So, yeah, I basically... If it's a game that I've played, I won't watch the Grumps play it. Because I already know I'm going to be better at it than Aaron is.
We sound like such bitter fuckers.
Oh, yeah. I mean, because like he didn't get famous for playing video games. He got famous because, you know, like he was one of the, you know, quote unquote like OG like celebrities of Newgrounds. And, you know, all the respect in the world for that and, you know, his animation and whatnot. But like he saw where the money was, and I can't really hate him for that. I mean, he saw where the money was, and he started doing Let's Plays, and, you know, he makes way more money doing that than he did off of, you know, doing internet cartoons. But at the same time, it's just like, yeah, I don't want to watch somebody suck at a video game. It's not fun to me. Like, if I want to watch somebody suck at a video game, I can just crank the difficulty up on, you know, some of the games that I'm not that good at. Like, I could put ACO on nightmare mode and never get past like the very first enemy you encounter and be like, yeah, it's so fun when you never make any progress in a game. That's not what I watch Grumps for. I really do not watch them for not making... Like, I couldn't watch all the way through their playthrough of Mario 64. Because it's just like, Aaron, this game is not that fucking hard. Like, it really feels like there comes a point where Aaron isn't actually that bad at a game. He's just hamming it up to stretch the playthrough out to get more episodes out of it, and that's what really bugs me. It's like, dude, you couldn't possibly play video games for a living and continue to never get any better at playing video games. There's just no way. You can't spend that much time doing something and never get any better at it.
Well, I noticed, like, I watched a couple episodes of him doing that thing where it was, like, just him and no Danny, and I noticed that he was infinitely better. I really think, like, people underestimate how difficult it can be to carry on a conversation while effectively playing a video game. Like, you get, like, it's a special kind of multitasking of which there are
I have no sympathy for it because, like, practically every video game I play, I'm talking to my wife the whole time. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't get the whole, oh no, talking and playing video games at the same time is hard. I've never understood that concept.
Really?
But then again, I also don't understand the whole, I forget my password every fucking Monday morning, and that's clearly a widespread issue.
But is that one of those things where like you and Amanda, like, are you talking like literally, like, because I know, like, I get uncomfortable whenever you and I are both on here recording and there's more than, like, you know, like 5 seconds of silence, and then it's like, oh, okay, all right, think of something quickly. There's
more of an impetus to continuously babble when you're recording, but I don't feel like it's that fucking difficult if you have any kind of rapport whatsoever with the person that you're talking with. You know?
Oh,
Like, I don't feel
I'm
like it's that difficult for Aaron to find shit to talk about with Danny that it excuses that he's fucking awful at video games. You know? Like, I just I don't see that. Like, also, Danny is rarely paying attention to the fucking game, so he could easily be the one thinking of more shit to talk about. So I just, you know what I'm saying? I don't see that as an excuse for why Aaron's awful at fucking video games.
I am, for those wondering why I'm being awful at this one, it's mostly because, I don't know. Okay, so fun story. Back in my early 20s, when I was doing a lot more partying than I am now, I actually wound up at this place where, and I'm sure that at some point in some episode of something that I've done so far that I've talked about this, but I'm going to talk about it now again anyway, just because. Yeah, there was this, like, you know, back when I was first getting into, like, kind of the Atlanta music scene and whatnot, there was this group of, like, people that threw shows, and Ginsu, I'm sure you've heard of them, like Horrible Children.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so, yeah, and they don't really do things anymore, but they used to have this fucking house that actually wasn't even theirs. It was, it was the house of one of their, you know, attendees that was renting it.
Wait, are you talking about Bam's house right now?
Bam's house? This is
Yeah.
a long time ago. Like, this place hasn't
okay.
been a thing. This place hasn't been a thing for like 6 years at least. Since it's
I mean, that only takes us to 2012, which, I mean, we were around each other at that point.
No, yeah, I know, but there's they like, I'm looking for the grapple beam right now. Okay, that's what I need, and I can't recall where the fuck it is, and I am just making all sorts of mistakes because I'm not, I don't know, for some reason I'm not handling progression in this game the way that I should. There's a lot more like U-turning and backtracking in this game than I apparently remember. Like, already, like right here, just in this very room, right that plus sign box thing, that's grapple beam. I need the grapple beam for like any number of things that I've encountered so far at this point, and I haven't found the grapple beam, and I'm having trouble remembering exactly where it is. Anyway, so this was when I was first getting into like going to parties and clubbing and like getting into like electronic music culture, and this was also back before dubstep was really a big thing. So in the Atlanta music scene, we had actually a variety of music to hear. And that's part of the reason why I hate dubstep so much, is because when dubstep and all of its various subgenres and offshoots appeared, it like everyone just like completely jizzed their pants over it, and it completely snuffed out the variety of music that you would hear otherwise. And so like back in that day, we had you know, there was techno, there was house, there was even some industrial, there was trance, psytrance, there was drum and bass. Like, they had like a pretty, like, it wasn't crazy, like there wasn't a lot of some of the more like dark avant-garde shit that I get into, but it was a variety. Like, if you didn't like what was playing in one room, you could rest assured that in the next room over, something completely different would be playing. Mm-hmm. And that likewise in 2 hours, something completely different from both would be playing in both rooms. But anyway, this is also when I was experimenting with a lot of, you know, like, less than
drugs,
yeah, sure, whatever. Yeah, and I've done most things. There's like, I think there's like a handful of things that I haven't tried, and they're mostly
heroin.
Well, I'm allergic to heroin, actually.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that.
Yeah, heroin will kill me. And not from the traditional method.
Yeah.
I've never tried heroin. I've never tried crack cocaine. I've never tried PCP, and I've never tried really
meth.
most offshoots of any of those three things I've never tried. There's an energy tank here, and I want it. Gimme! Yay! And yeah, I think that's it. I think I've actually tried most other things. The only thing I haven't tried that I really would like to try one of these days is DMT, but
Oh God.
I've never found an occasion where where A, it was available, and B,
Seemed like a good idea.
well, I mean, it's not like nothing bad ever really happens because, like, for one thing, it lasts like 10 minutes and then you're back to normal. Like it's not like a commitment, you know? And that's most of why I don't really ever do like, like I don't ever drop acid or anything like that anymore, is because like it's a commitment. Like it's like you have to, first of all, you have to get somewhere where you feel safe doing it and around people with whom you feel safe doing it, and then like have 8 hours to burn just doing nothing productive.
Yep.
Because even if something seems like a good idea to do on acid, like chances are once you're actually on acid, you're like, no, I'm not doing that. You know, because it's like there's always these things like, oh, like it's like that old fucking Bill Hicks routine where he's talking about people dropping acid and he's like, oh, dude, like you gotta try miniature golf. And he's like sitting there miming himself like tripping balls, and he's like, oh yeah, no, right. Like I'm totally watching like aliens build the pyramids right now, but yeah, no, miniature golf, I bet that's exactly what I need.
Yeah.
to make this trip peak, or whatever it is that he says, and yeah. So, but anyway, like, so after the party that one night, we went to the horrible children house. That everyone called it the fucking horrible house, but it really belonged to like this guy who was just an attendee of their parties, and they kind of usurped it from him. And like he just became like this guy, and it just kind of happened to him. I don't even know if he consented to it, but like all the after parties just always happened at this place, and it became called the Horrible House, even though the people actually associated with Horrible Children never like didn't own it or pay for it or anything.
Brilliant.
Yeah, I know, right? Where the fuck am I going? My God. Jesus. Okay. Alright. And yeah, they had like a Super Nintendo there, and it was somebody's. And I don't know whose it was, but I remember one morning, and it's one of the few times that I ever took this particular substance. But it was another thing I've never tried and never will try is meth. Never done meth. But what was it? Somebody had cocaine, and I took a little bit, and I got halfway through this game that we're playing right now in the course of like a couple hours. In the morning when most people were like passed out, piled up on each other on the couch, and I was just like sitting off to the side playing Super Metroid. And I got like halfway through the game before I was like, all right, I should get in my car and go home now. And it's funny that under the influence that morning, I did better than I'm doing right now at this game.
It's a performance-enhancing drug.
Yeah. And yeah, I don't like it though because it, every bad thing they tell you about it is, for the most part, true. Like you really do feel miserable afterwards. Like I've actually never understood why cocaine is as lucrative as it is, and why it's considered like this expensive, like rich person drug. Because like, I mean, and granted, like it doesn't, like as far as like a stimulant, it doesn't have nearly the negative effects that like methamphetamine and shit like that do. And it's not nearly as dirty, or at least like regular cocaine isn't. But like it lasts for like an hour tops, and then after that you just feel like ending your life. Like that come down is so awful that I'm just like, oh my God, why would anybody? And like, yeah,
That's
sure.
because you just do more.
Yeah, you do more, but I mean, like, why wouldn't you just be like, okay, I'm gonna like go and fuck myself up on something that lasts longer and is cheaper?
Well, here, that's the thing about addiction, man. Like, if you've never been addicted to something, and I mean like really addicted, not like, man, I need another cup of coffee. Not that kind of fucking addicted. I mean like really, I can't go on without more fucking Percocet, like what happened to me a few years back. There's really no explaining it. I mean, like, I know you're a fucking nicotine addict like I am, but I don't know like how much it would ruin your fucking life if you quit.
Well, I mean, I honestly don't know. I'll be honest with you. I have no fucking clue just because, like, I've always found a way to get it in some way or another. Like, there's no real stopping me. But I mean, like, I don't know. Like, ever since vaping became a thing, like, I feel like I don't actually know, like, with as powerful as vapes are nowadays, here's where I needed to go all this time. I just made like an entire loop around the fucking world, and I just needed to go into this stupid room. But yeah, like I don't know how equivalent vapes as powerful as the ones you and I have are to, say, like a cigarette versus, like, I know that well, I don't know about you, but I use like a 0.3 on for my nicotine, and I know
Yeah,
that
I'm
that's
at 6, but yeah, I know it. We've come down in how much nicotine is in our vapes, but at the same time, like, you probably vape more than you smoked.
yeah.
Right.
Well, it depends on the situation, but yeah, like
Well, I mean, yeah, because nicotine's definitely one of those kind of drugs where sometimes you need more and sometimes you need less. Like, there are times when I realize, like, wow, I haven't vaped all day. That's weird. And then there's other times where I don't put my vape down all fucking day, you know?
oh my god,
You have to freeze these guys in just such a place
no,
that you can get across the room.
son of a fucking bitch.
Oh, that was painful in more ways than one.
No, no, oh my god, that would have been perfect. Shit. Damn it. Oh god, this blows. Okay, alright. No. No.
Just keep running back into the
Ah!
fucking spikes.
Alright. Believe it or not, you're expected to do this. Like, you're expected to just, like, continue living on these spikes until you, ouch. Fuck, I'm gonna die. Okay, actually, I've fucked up good here, because I don't know when the last time I saved was, and I've got 35 HP left.
GG.
So yeah, thoughts and prayers, everybody. Fuck. Those
Yeah.
spikes take away your HP much faster than I remember. And much more of it. Well, what? What? How is that anything other than the fucking grapple beam? I'm doing this fucking game all
Lols.
sorts of out of fucking order.
Lols.
Oh my god.
Wow. So you're pretty boned at this point, huh?
Well, I got this X-ray scope thing, and I can't even fucking remember what button to push to activate it. Oh, here we go.
Content.
Okay, so there's the way out, and then there's this hidden shit down here. So that's neat. All right, obviously, in order to get out of this alive, I'm gonna have to do. Oh man. Oh, dude, this is gonna suck. This is gonna suck. Shit. All right. I wasn't even. Man, I wasn't even supposed to be able to get here. Oh, dude.
It's almost like all those spikes were a clue or something.
Oh, God.
And isn't that shit above you stuff that you could grapple off of?
Yes, that's why I thought this room had the grapple beam. I thought I would get the grapple beam and then be able to grapple out of the room.
Well,
Thus avoiding the spikes.
you're gonna die. Like, I think you should just get it over with, honestly.
No, no, no. Hold on. Ugh. Oh, God. Jesus. Wait a minute. I think there's a thing. I'm pretty sure I can do it now that I have power bombs. There's like a thing. Google this for me. There's like a thing in Super Metroid where you can recover your HP using power bombs, but I can't remember how to do it. It's some esoteric button combination, and I can't remember what it is. You still there, buddy? Gensu.
Yeah, I'm looking for it.
All right. Oh man. What the fuck?
Okay, here's what I'm seeing. You have to have 50 or less energy, empty reserve tanks, 10 missiles, 10 super missiles, and 11 power bombs.
Oh shit. Okay. Well, that's.
Then you enter morph ball form, holding down, aim up button, aim down button, and fire button will initiate the crystal flash. This will result in Samus rising into the air in a ball of light, suitless, while her energy tanks rapidly refill.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I don't have enough shit to do all that.
GG. Yusa gonna die. Unless you just hang out here killing random dudes until you fill your health back up.
Which I'm sure that nobody really wants to watch, but I don't want to go all the way fucking back to where I was, although I'm pretty sure. You know what? Fuck it. Yeah. That was people's first clue as to. Well, no, I think I mean, not their first clue, because I think the same thing happened in the first Metroid, but when did people find out that Samus wasn't really a dude?
I don't remember. I just don't care.
Well, fine.
Like, I mean, like, ooh, it's a chick. Like, okay, it's a fucking fictional character in a video game. I don't really see why it matters what fucking, you know, what their kin type is. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just, they're a fictional character.
I think female protagonists were a little bit rarer in video games at the time.
I mean, sure, but, like, I don't know. I mean, it's not to say there were no women involved in making video games, because there always have been, but just, I mean, there are more dudes, so it kind of made sense that they'd probably make male characters. I don't know. I just don't think it matters that much. I don't think it's like a huge leap forward in egalitarianism that, you know, like, oh, this character's female, that matters. Like, I don't get it. Like,
well, that's, I mean, I get it. It's the same reason why it was a big deal when, like, I mean, like Ripley in Aliens was female, and like it was kind of one of those things where it was like, you know, you had this character that wasn't. I mean, you have to understand, like in cinema and in storytelling, like it's always that whole like princess in a castle, Mario, go rescue her thing is like really a lot more common than people recognize. I mean, if there's a girl in the story, it's safe to assume that she's going to get in trouble and some dudes are going to rescue her, or at the very least that she's going to get help, or she's going to need help from some dudes or whatever. And it's just like that's why, you know, that's why Alien was kind of groundbreaking, is because it was like, and I talked about this in my Metroid Prime playthroughs, like, you know, there was so, you know, there was, you know, here you had this woman who just like everybody around her dies, and then, you know, and that, but you know, she manages to survive, like she's, you know, a survivor, and like she didn't really have any help from everybody because everybody else fucking died. And then like you get Aliens, which is like, you know, they start to reveal a little bit more about like the aliens themselves, and it's like a hive and there's a queen, and like the whole series is just like very matriarchal, and it's like it was different, like that hadn't been done before, you know. It wasn't all revolving around, you know, I don't know. I've lost you, haven't I? Next topic.
I'm just saying, like, I don't see why it really like. Why do we really have to scream? Oh, this was the first to do that, because like it's not the first time ever that a story has had, you know, like a female hero. I mean, you can look in fucking ancient mythology and find female heroes. It's not, you know what I'm saying? Like, it might be rarer or whatever, but like, you know, the way that we make that not a thing is by not making a big fucking deal out of it. You know what I'm saying? Like it shouldn't be a big deal what fucking color, gender, or creed the hero is. So how about we just don't make a big deal out of it?
Well, anytime there's a story, I mean, you want to like you like. There's always that, especially in video games. Like, there's always. I'm sure you've heard about the concept of like power fantasy. Like, where you're playing a character and like you want to feel powerful as that character, and like for some people,
which is why Ubisoft storytelling pisses me off so bad.
Oh.
It's like there's no power fantasy in a fucking Ubisoft game, because they will at some point just suck you into a cutscene, make you do something retarded, and slap you down like the little bitch you are. Like, fuck you for playing this game. No power fantasy for you. You are ultimately powerless and have no agency, because whenever we feel like knocking you down a peg, we will suck you into a cutscene, you will lose control of the player character, and they will do something stupid that no player would ever fucking do. Because it's so goddamn obvious that, oh, well, this guy's the big bad. I'm like, I could tell, because you never let me be in the same place as that guy outside of a fucking cutscene. Duh. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, yes, I get the concept of power fantasy, and I think it's kind of important for video games, because, like, let's take Assassin's Creed Unity, for example. If I wanted to ruin my life and have a bout with alcoholism, I could have given $60 to Stoli, not fucking Ubisoft. You know what I'm saying? Like, if there's no escapism, what's the fucking point of the game, of playing the video game? Like, there's plenty of depressing and sad shit I can experience IRL. So, yes, I know what you're talking about. All of that is to say.
I have to admit, I kind of have Aaron's thing, where I like playing female characters more. I don't know why that is. And
I don't care. Like, when given the choice, I don't play as a chick, because I'm not one. You know what I'm saying? When given the choice.
You're such a fucking aspie, oh my god. Like, I can't fucking explain this shit to you.
Let me find an example where that wasn't the case. In Assassin's Creed Syndicate, Evie Fry was the better assassin, so anytime I had the choice, I played as her. That's one example, but that wasn't because she was female, and I want to play as the female character. It's because she was the better assassin. Like, Jacob Fry was, like, a complete fucking idiot. So I never wanted to play as him, but that's because he was a complete fucking idiot, not because he was male. And I didn't want to play as Evie because she was female. I wanted to play as Evie because she was the smart one. You know? So, but I mean, like, all things created equal, I'm probably going to play as a dude because, why wouldn't I? And yeah, I'm an aspie. We've been over that.
I don't know. Like, I gotta learn when to like, just realize that I'm not gonna make you understand.
No, I mean, the reason Aaron always plays as chicks when he can is because one of these days he's just going to come out as, being a fucking chick. It's just going to happen. Like, it's only a matter of time.
What? No, I don't get it.
It will happen before much longer that Aaron is trans. It's just going to happen. Like, let their subscriber count flag a little further and it's going to happen.
You lost me.
Probably.
God damn it. Where the fuck? Why can't I I don't. Sorry, everybody watching this. Like, I really don't remember, having this much trouble finding things in this game. Usually stuff... I very strongly remember this game just having a kind of thing where it's just like, you just find shit without really trying. And the game just kind of granularly guides you where you need to go. I do know that I can go ahead and pop this now that I've got power bombs. So that's a thing. We can go ahead and do that. I don't think it's really going to benefit me in any way. Wait, why did I do that? God damn it. I got paranoid because I was like, I'm going to break this thing, and then am I going to be stuck in the water? I didn't want to... Okay. I don't want to be here because I can't effectively move here. Actually, I mean, I kind of can. Alright, well, too late now. I'm stuck now. Anyway. Ginsu, are you alive? Ginsu! Oh no!
Oh, there we are.
Oh.
Okay. Yeah, I apparently accidentally bumped mute on Skype. My bad.
Oh god, how long have you been muted? Shit.
I have no fucking idea.
Were you making fun of me for fucking, like, falling in the water and then not being able to... not knowing if I could get back out?
No.
Yeah, because without the gravity suit, I kind of am gonna struggle here. But it was the only progressive... see, the game isn't linear, so, like, you can get yourself caught in these kind of situations. And I'm finding...
the one thing I was saying is, you were talking about how, like, it seemed like the game had some flow to it, and you just found stuff. I'm like, yeah, that's called luck, homie. You were lucky on a previous playthrough, where you just seemed to find the stuff that you needed.
No. Like,
There's
I'm saying
no
that, like...
guiding hand in this game at all. There's nothing that says, hey, now go over there. There's nothing.
Oh, and
so
that's awesome, isn't it?
No.
You don't like it.
Completely aimless games? No, not a fan.
Well, it's not aimless. You see things that clearly, like, you learn by playing, so there doesn't need to be a tutorial.
I'm not saying it needs a tutorial, but I mean, like, hey, maybe do this now wouldn't be completely out of place.
Well, I don't know. I like that. I think it's part of the magic of it, but at the same time, like right now, in this particular playthrough, I seem to be finding everything
but the one thing you need.
Yeah. Precisely as the man just said it. Okay. I know that at some point I'm supposed to fight the fucking I need to fight Crocomire because I remember Jesus. It's somewhere around here and I can't remember where. I think when I left and went back up towards the surface, I wasn't supposed to do that. Oh wait. How did it escape my notice that I had not opened that door yet?
I was gonna ask, but I figured you knew what the fuck you were doing. I guess that was maybe a bit much.
Oh, look at this. Look at all this. Like, yeah. Alright.
Yeah.
Except nothing here shows you... God, I'm so used to, like, maps showing you things like doors and things like that. This literally shows you almost nothing. It shows you where the rooms are.
I don't even understand the point of the map in this game.
The map shows you... Okay, so it shows you all of the rooms, but it doesn't show you how those rooms connect, if they connect
or
at all.
what's in them, or which one you might want to go to next,
Okay,
or
so
really
let me
anything of value.
Let me explain some of the basic stuff. Okay, so the M right next to the cursor where we are right now obviously stands for map, because that's where we found the map. All the little S's are save points. All the little white dots are treasures of some kind.
Yeah.
Some of them are useful items. Some of them are actually just ammo upgrades. So like of varying levels of usefulness. And then that little thing down at the very bottom with this sort of skull-looking thing, that's a boss that we're not going to fight for a very long time. But all the same. So there are some details there. It's just not the, you know. Okay, I want to say that in some form or fashion I should be able to get... It does help though, because I can at least see where things are where I haven't been yet. Okay, so now I was stuck in this stupid room. Now I got the power bombs, so I can use that. So I was supposed to go get the power bombs. I guess I actually wasn't doing it wrong. I just kept going when I was supposed to turn back. Because I actually was supposed to leave and get those power bombs. Otherwise, I wouldn't be able to come here where I am right now. So I did something right. Yes. I don't feel quite as bad now. I do miss the what they added in Metroid Prime, which is that basically when you charge your beam, it acts like a tractor. And that's not in the old games. So I'm bummed about that. Anyway. Okay, now I know exactly where I am. Okay, cool. Shit's all coming back to me.
Sprinting through dudes.
No, like where I ended up, I'm like, oh, okay, this actually makes like 100,000% perfect sense now. There's just like, when you go back through this game and play it again, you start seeing all the places. You're like, oh, okay, that's a place where I need this item, and that's a place where I need this item. And any one of those places, if you don't remember the game like the back of your hand, could be associated with the place where you actually find that item. Because usually you see, you know, grapple beam points near the grapple beam, and I'm pretty sure we're going to see that. And so any spot where I saw grapple points, I was like, oh, okay, so the grapple beam's probably here. Anyway.
Lol, no.
Here's this guy. I'm gonna have fun here by being way better at this than Aaron was.
We shall fucking see. Also, so you're implying that the Grumps played this? Yeah, I never watched it, because I've seen too many speedruns of this to suffer through watching Aaron fumble fuck his way through this over the course of 4 billion episodes. There's just no way I could watch the Grumps play this game.
As soon as I said that, I started doing worse.
Well,
so I should have just not.
You tempted fate.
I tried to like, you know, I tried to get slick and use super missiles. And then, of course, every super missile I had hit him either on the nose or on the chin instead of going in his mouth where I want it.
Yeah, I kind of noticed that.
So I'm just going to stick with charge shots. And then there was a point, like, where Game Grumps were playing this, where they figured out finally that they could, like, refill their ammo and health and stuff by shooting the shit that he shoots out of his mouth.
Yeah.
And then as soon as they figured out that they could do that, they did it that one time, and then they never did it again.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, like learning impairment as an art form basically sums up the Grumps. Like, they'll finally figure out why they've been sucking so hard for the entire playthrough, and then, you know, they'll do the thing they should have done the entire fucking time, and then they'll never do it again. like I can't remember what strat it was in Mario 64, but there was something in Mario 64 where it was like, "Fucking duh, you idiots," the entire time, and then Aaron does it once and never again, and continues to go back to fumble fucking his way through the rest of the goddamn game. Like, wow, that was fun to watch. I never even.
But just going back, like way back to how we were talking about this game, and like how it was like just a little bit creepy and weird and dark for a game at its time, and like watching this thing die the first time I beat it as a kid, I was like, oh god, because I don't think at the age that I played and beat this game I had ever seen a representation, even computer-generated, animated in a video game, of a living creature falling into acidic lava and having its skin melt off. I don't think I'd ever been exposed to that yet. So I saw it, and I was like, oh, wow, okay.
I mean, I'm pretty sure I had played, like, Doom and Duke Nukem before I played Metroid.
Well, I played fucking...
I'm just saying, like,
I played fucking
experience.
I played kitty motherfucking games until I was,
in your 20s?
Well, no, not in my 20s, but like longer than a lot of people. Like, I didn't fucking like. When did the first GTA come out, and how old were we when it came out?
Okay, again, there's a difference between the first GTA and the first GTA that mattered. Because the first GTA that mattered was 3, and that was the one that parents freaked the fuck out about. And you know what? I'm gonna have to look it up, but I think I was in like 7th or 8th grade. Let me look it up.
Okay, so yeah, so we would have been what, like
2001 is when GTA 3 came out.
Okay, so 2001, I specifically remember because I was in 8th grade when that happened. So that would have been because I remember because that's when September 11th happened. September 11th happened when I was in 8th grade, and yeah. So like I would have been 13, and so no, I wasn't playing GTA or really any game like that still.
Because, I was playing GTA when it came out.
Yeah, no, I was never one of those people. Like, I didn't... Like, my mom didn't want me playing, like, super crazy violent games, but I honestly didn't feel the need to. Like, I was having a lot of fun playing the games that I was playing. And
well, I mean, I had fun with, like, Mario and Donkey Kong and stuff like that,
It's not that I was playing, like, super kiddie games. I was just playing a different, like... I mean, believe me, there's plenty of like adult wink wink moments in a lot of the games that I was playing, but like there was never any like crazy like super violence or gore or anything like that in a lot of what I was playing. But I mean, like I was playing
ultra violence.
Sure, and like I don't know what like I was playing a lot of like T-rated stuff at the time, because that was about the time when I started getting into like Final Fantasy and stuff like that. And every single Final Fantasy game that's ever been made has had that whole like suggestive themes tagline on the fucking thing. I don't even know what that fucking means.
I could never stay awake long enough in a fucking Final Fantasy game to get to any of the, ooh, that might not be appropriate for kids.
Okay, whatever. I'm just like trying to say that I wasn't fucking playing like Barney the Dinosaur's Puzzle Basement fucking...
Barney's Puzzle Basement. Hello Kitty Island Adventure.
Yeah, I wasn't like playing that until I was 20 years old. I just didn't play any of the like, I don't know, like I just... But I wasn't like, I also wasn't like tugging at my mom's sleeve being like, mommy, let me play GTA. Like I didn't have any desire, and that's really more.
I never really had to do that. Like if I told my mom I wanted to play a game, she'd be like, okay. I mean, I don't think that's maybe the best idea, but my mom never tried to keep me away from playing whatever games I was interested in. I mean, because I was just as like into Donkey Kong as I was into GTA or Doom or Duke Nukem or Mario or whatever. I mean, I just played whatever I was interested in. And I mean, I remember when I got my PS2, like the games that I got when I got my PS2 were like whatever Tony Hawk's Pro Skater was the new one at the time, and then I got whatever Final Fantasy was current because everybody was talking about it. And I didn't even get through disc 1 before I was like, I don't fucking care. I just don't care. Like, I'm not... Why am I doing this anymore? Like, I just... Yeah.
I mean... It took me... Okay, let me give you... Okay, so... this is why I want to play Legend of Legaia, and I think we'll probably play that after we play Fallout 3. Is that
Okay.
like it was the first like RPG that I played in the sense of like the common, you know, the damn it, the fuck am I doing? Uh, you know, in terms of it being like an actual RPG and not an adventure game, and it actually emulating the, you know, the mechanics of tabletop RPGs, where, and that's how I define video game RPGs, is like, are there stats, are there characters, do the characters have character sheets, like, and that they never call them character sheets in the video game, I realize that, but like anytime you're in a menu looking at
WoW
characters
does.
and stats, yeah, no, okay, yeah, but like in single player RPGs too, you have that, like you have things that for all intents and purposes are character sheets, and
Yeah.
um
Oh, you'll get your fill of that shit in Fallout 3.
and you know, so that was the first game that I played that was an RPG in that particular sense, and before that I just thought RPG was like, oh yeah, okay, it's Zelda, right? And it uh and actually I actually got, those are my two Christmas presents, or maybe it was a Christmas and birthday present. Or I got like one year I got Final Fantasy VII, and they're the fucking fuck it is the grapple beam. Okay, I got Final Fantasy VII and Legend of Legaia, and I started playing Final Fantasy VII the most because like it was what I had heard about and it was what I asked for, and then my mom had gotten me Legend of Legaia kind of like as a surprise because she saw the thing and she was like, oh okay, like this will probably be good too, and like whatever. And I played Final Fantasy VII, and like the opening part of Final Fantasy VII where you like are in Midgar and like you're in that big like cyberpunk city and whatnot, and it's just like that part seemed so long for me at my age at that time that I was just like, ugh, and like I couldn't wrap my attention span around it. And so I started playing Legend of Legaia instead. And Legend of Legaia I actually did get into because it was just, I don't know why. I would love for someone to psychoanalyze why it was that I was able to get into Legend of Legaia but not Final Fantasy VII. But I played and beat Legend of Legaia, and then after I
Because
did
Final
that,
Fantasy VII is boring.
okay, well, I played and beat Legend of Legaia, and then after I did that, I was able to go back and give Final Fantasy VII a proper go and play all the way through it. And it like does require a lot of patience, even now, like getting through it, but like, or getting through that intro section, I should say. Where I mean, but it's like, I don't know. I always had the same thing, like when I read books or read novels or whatever. Like the first fucking few pages of like a book you're reading, they always like just crawl by and then it gets good. I mean, that's kind of how most stories are when you think about it. I mean, how many stories like are really just instantaneously awesome from the first thing, like, you know, from the very first fucking page or even the first chapter, you know?
I don't know. I'm pretty awful about reading books these days, and
Oh, I
the
am
books that I
too,
read aren't
but I still
fiction
understand.
so much.
Yeah, no, I'm the same
Like
way.
I still haven't read all of Song of Ice and Fire. I keep meaning to, and I've certainly got enough time to before Game of Thrones comes back for its last season. But I mean, I'm just bad about reading. Like the last series, oh God save me, the last series I actually fucking read all the way through was probably fucking Twilight.
What?
It was an
Wait
easy
a minute.
read though.
Wait
I
a
mean,
minute.
it was just it
Wait a
wasn't dense or anything. It was easy to get through.
Why? Why did you even take the time to do that?
Have you never done anything to get in a chick's pants? I
Are
mean,
you serious?
Like, chick I was dating at the time was really into it, so I was like, okay,
Wait,
well, let's
what?
see what's all,
Wait,
what all
wait,
this is
when was
about then.
this?
I don't want to talk about it for
When-
obvious fucking reasons, because then I'd have to remember having read the fucking Twilight series. But
Was this
yeah,
before or after I knew you?
you know, it might have been before. Now
It
that I
had
think
to
about
have
it,
been
because I'm trying to think
before,
about when
surely.
it was. Yeah, it might have been before. But yeah, like, and then of course there was the Harry Potter series, which I think fucking everybody got into at some point.
I never did. I know.
You never read them? I mean, they were decent books. I mean, it wasn't like the best shit ever written or anything, but they weren't bad either. I mean, it was enjoyable. But like, yeah, I've got all of the fucking, Song of Ice and Fire, and well, it's been harder for me to read since what happened a couple Februarys ago. You're aware of that, but I mean, even that aside, I'm not great about sticking with reading long ass fucking books, which these very much are. And I don't know, the fucking nonfiction crap I've been reading is just, I don't know, is easier to get through for some fucking reason. Like, what the hell was it called? Fire and Fury, the book that was about Trump. Like, I pretty much just breezed through that in like a day and was like, yeah, there were no surprises in that, like, at all.
How much of that do you think is true?
I mean, I don't have a reason to believe that any of it's outright fabricated. I mean, like, you can pretty much line up, like, with the timeline of the book, you can pretty much line up Trump tweets that make it all seem perfectly fucking plausible, you know? And I mean, also, how could you possibly write something more ridiculous about Trump than the truth? Like, that's why South Park, in, their last season, kind of just didn't bother, is because they're like, what are we supposed to make up that's funnier or more ridiculous than reality?
Yeah, that is kind of interesting to think about, that, like, I have the grapple beam and I haven't been using it. Oh my god. Ah! Thank you. Okay, so I've, like, latched onto this poor little creature and I'm electrifying him as I use him to swing like Tarzan from nowhere and then fall into the lava again. Great.
Yay!
Great. I'm so talented.
Yes.
Anyway.
So good at Tavidya.
Yeah, I don't know. I know that's like, I always thought that was a thing for, like, comedians, like, because they always have to, there's always some sort of exaggeration from the truth. But
Right.
then when the truth is already as exaggerated as it is, it's just like, well, what do you do? And,
yeah, Trump kind of defies satire, really. Like, what can you possibly do? And I mean, like, Colbert has been trying, right? But it's like, you can only make the wink wink, he's a Nazi joke so many fucking times. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like, it just, like I was saying earlier, pointing out there's no consistency with this dude, the novelty of that is really worn off at this point.
yeah.
So it's like, what can you even do? The next book on my list to read is Comey's book, although I don't think there's really going to be anything surprising in there either.
Comey? Wait,
Yeah.
he wrote a book? Wait, what? How many people are going to write books about this motherfucker?
Literally all of them that get handed, several $100,000 or $1 million to write a fucking book. I mean, I don't know what Comey got for his book deal, but it must have been fucking great. And it's called A Higher Loyalty. Because of course it is. Because the entire fucking row about him leaving was because Trump asked him for some loyalty. I'm like, he did not stay up late coming up with the title for the fucking book. I've also heard that, like, there's entire chapters you can fucking skip because they're, like, about his childhood and shit, and nobody's fucking reading your goddamn book to hear about your fucking backstory, dude. Like, people just want to know what fucking happened during the Trump administration while you were there. And I'm sure none of it's going to be surprising, because really nothing in politics is anymore.
I just, like, I don't know, man. Like, everybody's like, it's like everybody's in this position where they're just like, Trump just keeps, like, firing all these people, but, like, none of them are people that, like, we cared about beforehand. And so, like,
Yeah.
some people are just defaulting to their whole, like, oh, well, he's just, like, some, like, if it was someone in the government, then they must have deserved it, like, pretty much. It's just, like, this businessman hero that's just, like, cleaning house and just firing everybody in the government.
Yeah,
it's
except
just, like,
the people he's been firing are largely people that he brought with him to start with. So the whole drain the swamp argument is fucking retarded because this is his swamp. Like, the vast majority of people that he's fired are people that he hired to begin with. Like, he hasn't been, like, cleaning out agencies of, quote-unquote problem bureaucrats or any of that shit. He's been firing his own staff. So it's like, what? I don't see how you can praise him for that.
Yeah. What about Comey? Like, wasn't he like the FBI director or whatever?
Yeah, he was, and he had been there since before Trump's presidency, but the reason he had to go was because Trump didn't like him, not because he was a problem.
Like, it begs the question, who does Trump like?
Trump. I mean, that's an easy one.
Well, I mean, like, how's he gonna fucking... How
is he going to function as a human being? The answer is, as he always has, which is, not.
Ew! Gross! I'm down here with a bunch of gross boogers. Leave me alone, and they're killing me. Christ. I almost died from fucking...
It's supposed to be eels or something?
They're like jumping boogers. Okay, yeah, no, I just wonder, like, what's gonna stop him from, like... It sounds like fucking tinfoil hatty, but I mean, if it just keeps firing people, like, how are we not gonna wind up with a fucking dictatorship?
That's pretty much his plan.
Is it really? Like, am I being paranoid? Am
I
being a paranoid
I don't
fucking Trump hater?
No, I don't think so. I mean, it's obviously what he wants is just to, be able to force everyone to do whatever the fuck he wants. Like, he's obviously that kind of megalomaniac.
Like, yeah, no, I've been waiting to see some indication that he values differing opinions.
You're never gonna find that. Like, really, don't hold your breath. He does not value differing opinions.
Yeah, like,
he has absolutely no use for differing opinions.
No, fuck. I want to see if I can make the jump without using the grapple beam. The grapple beam, like, doesn't feel good to use. Because it's an interesting mechanic, but as a whole, please shoot. God damn it. Well, thank God there's a fucking energy tank here, because that's exactly... Jesus! Urgh. This is the one mechanic that really, really improved when it went 3D. Okay, cool. Energy tank. Nope, damn it.
Hooray.
God. Jesus. Okay, yeah, I don't know, like, I don't know how people are still... I don't know. I wish I could get inside the mind of, like, people that, like, still really like him and just try and understand. Like, I really want to understand.
There are people that hate the federal government. There are people that think that the federal government cannot possibly do anything good. It is inherently evil. And the fact that Trump is just, day by day, fucking destroying the federal government is just, laudable. Like, that's the only kind of people that are still praising Trump, or people that are like, oh, it's just great that he's destroying the reputation of the United States as a whole, because, that's the federal government, and that's fucking horrible. They only do bad things, the federal government. Like, there's nothing good that the federal government has ever done. We're talking about those kind of people that actually believe that, or the people that are still praising Trump. I mean, the only people that ever praise Trump, if we're honest. I think the only difference is people may be realizing, oh, hey, wait a minute. I didn't realize that the Affordable Care Act was Obamacare. That was the funniest fucking thing that's ever happened in American politics. The poor Republicans like, yeah, we need to get rid of Obamacare. We don't need that fucking communism. Wait a minute, where'd my health insurance go? Like, where did you have your health insurance? Well, through the Affordable Care Act. I'm like, that's Obamacare. They're like, no, the fuck it isn't. I'm like, yes, you hapless retard. It is. Obamacare's the slang name for the Affordable Care Act. They're like, oh, well, then obviously it was a bad thing. I'm like, you were literally praising it 5 seconds ago, but now that it has Obama's name on it, it's Satan. Really? Like, that was so fun watching people trip over themselves, trying to argue both sides of, oh my god, that was great.
And
I did relish in watching poor Republicans lose their health care. I really did, because it was just like, you begged for this. You fucking begged for this.
Well, even you didn't like it.
It was your greatest dream was to lose your own fucking health insurance. So congratulations, you fucking retards, you got it.
Oh my god. Yeah, I remember when Obamacare first came out, you weren't happy about it either.
No, I wasn't, because it's not fucking socialized medicine, it's compulsory consumerism. So I was happy to watch Obamacare die too. Not because I think less people should have health insurance, I think everybody should have all the fucking health care they need. But compulsory consumerism was not the way forward. And that's all Obamacare ever was. So, stripping the individual mandate and, letting them skyrocket the prices of health insurance, I mean, I wasn't stoked about that. I mean, but at the same time, like, Obamacare had to fucking die.
It was the only way.
We were never going to get anything better so long as it existed.
It was the only way that, like, he could make it fly with, like,
Yeah, but it ended up not even kind of being what it needed to be. Like, if he meant to give us socialized medicine, he didn't at all.
Well, he couldn't, because I don't think. I mean, could he really? I mean, as beholden as our government is to.
He did start with having a Democratic majority in Congress, so you tell me.
Well, yeah, but like, isn't even. I mean, what would? I don't know. I don't know how much.
The answer to this quandary is the fucking Democrats are capitalists too, so no, he couldn't.
Yeah, so
even if
like
he
how
wanted
many?
To. And I don't really know that he wanted to, but let's give him the benefit of the doubt and say that what he wanted was socialized medicine. Yeah, I don't think he could have done it even when he had a Democratic majority, because they're all fucking capitalists too.
Yeah, like I mean, like I don't know how much of it is tinfoil hattery or not, but I mean, it just seems like no matter what anybody with pure intentions wants to do, like they always have to. Play nice with
but what I'm saying
interests.
is, if what I wanted was socialized medicine, and I found that the closest thing to it I could get was compulsory consumerism, I'd have settled for nothing rather than compulsory fucking consumerism, because it's like, so what we do instead of socialized medicine is we force everybody to get their health care from capitalists. Are you fucking kidding me? It's not even, like, in the same universe as the same thing, and it doesn't accomplish the same thing anyway. He turns around and hangs his hat on, well, more people have health insurance than ever. I'm like, yeah, because you had the IRS hold a fucking gun to everyone's head. Of course more people have health insurance, because they gotta pay something anyway.
What kind of gymnastics did they go through to come up with this? It's just, I don't know.
I don't know, but it was fucking awful from start to finish. And the real joke of the whole thing was that insurance premiums were going to skyrocket as soon as Obama was out of office anyway, because that's how the ACA got passed. Yeah. Like, everybody acted surprised and shit when at the end of Obama's presidency, they got letters from their, health insurance companies saying that their rates were about to skyrocket, and, their effective coverage was going to suck. I'm like, yeah, you morons, that was in the law. Like, are we all just going to pretend like we're illiterate so we can act surprised when bad things happen? Like, it was in the fucking law that is basically, it didn't say as soon as Obama's out of office, but that's exactly when the fuse ran out, was right at the end of his fucking time in office, was, yeah, they can skyrocket fucking premiums because it's not Obama's fault anymore. I mean, it is, but it's not, because what are you going to do, not vote for him? Ha, he can't run for anything anyway. So he got to hang his hat on, more people have health insurance than ever. Well, yeah, sure they do, because they had to either do that or pay the tax penalty, so they figured they may as well get something out of it. Except for the, poor Republicans that are like, I've always been healthy, I don't need health insurance. And then they start acting pissed off like, oh, well, these greedy hospitals, expect me to pay, all this money for my heart attack. Like, well, of course they do, you idiot. It's capitalism. Which side of this issue are you on?
Oh, yeah, that reminds me. Like, when I had my appendectomy, like, my mom was, like, blown away by how expensive it was.
Yeah,
like
it's literally as expensive as they can possibly get away with.
Like it is as
everything is.
It was almost nothing because of insurance. But like when she looked at the cost like before insurance, it was just like, wow.
And that's why everyone has to have health insurance, is because of health insurance, they skyrocket the fucking prices of shit because the insurance company is going to pay for most of it. You don't see how this endlessly feeds itself?
Yeah, I mean,
Right. And then, capitalism requires infinite growth, so in order for the health insurance companies to get infinite profit, they have to keep raising rates. In order for the healthcare providers, if we have to call them that, to continue making infinite money, they have to continue to raise prices, which of course causes health insurance premiums to go up. Because what, you thought health insurance companies existed to spend more money than they make?
Yeah, it's just like there's no, I don't know, like it's just like, at what point do you get happy with what you have and then decide it's okay?
There's no such thing.
Yeah.
In capitalism, there's no such thing as enough. There's no, you can't make, literally, if, at the end of capitalism, when one guy gets 100% of the profit from literally everything that happens on Earth, it still won't be enough. And that's why inflation exists, so we can keep printing more dollars so that they can keep playing their game of ever-increasing numbers. Because that's what capitalism is. The numbers have to keep getting bigger. Never mind that we do live on a finite planet, and capitalism is the reason why we haven't left it yet. But, we have to ever-increasingly get more. Well, you've got enough, right? No, I need more!
Yeah, it's like you almost feel it's funny to me, like, ever even, whenever I have, in having debates with people, and like you eventually come down to the point where you've got to tell somebody that they or somebody else has what they need, they've got enough. And then as you're saying that, like, I've found, like, I feel that I get this feeling of like I'm saying something that's mean, that like is like, that's going to be difficult for this person to hear, and I have to try and say it gently. And then I realize how stupid that is.
I'm not afflicted with that particular condition.
No, I know, because you're fucking Aspie, but I feel it, and it's
This isn't because I'm an Aspie. This is because I'm the grade of communist that wants to literally behead the motherfuckers that have too much.
Okay, well, what I'm saying is, like, I'm just talking about when I'm talking to, like, just regular people, not when I'm, like, interviewing the CEO of Banker Fucks Incorporated.
Goldman Sachs, who recently said, you know what? Maybe curing disease isn't a profitable business model. I swear to God, that actually happened.
No, I saw the link.
How did capitalism not... how is that not the singularity at which capitalism ceased to fucking exist? I can't even fucking comprehend how Goldman Sachs can say with a straight face, we don't think curing disease is really a profitable long-term business model. How does that not make literally everyone say, okay, this entire fucking system has to go? It has to. It fucking has to. They're literally going to let people die because it's less profitable. Then I fucking can't anymore. But you were saying.
No, I love it when you yeah. I mean, just talking to, like, regular people about it, and you realize that it's so ingrained in people and in you as well, like the royal you. It's so ingrained in people that you actually find yourself having to be delicate about the concept of saying that somebody's got enough. Like, why is that so offensive?
Because capitalism is a religion, and you're a fucking heretic if you question it. You can't point out that there isn't infinite resources with which to make infinite profit. You can't point that out. You get told, oh, well, you need to take an economics class. It's like, no, I don't need to take a fucking capitalism indoctrination class so that somebody can say, well, if we just keep making up this other abstract resource called money, if we just print more of that, we can keep pretending that there's infinite resources. No, there are not fucking infinite resources. There's no such thing. You can't actually have infinite expansion. And moreover, the way that they're achieving record profits is by employing as few people as fucking possible. So, it's obvious that the system doesn't serve everyone. From the get-go, it should be obvious that it doesn't serve everyone, but it's becoming increasingly obvious when it's harder and harder to find work, and it doesn't pay as much as it should. And I mean, you read about, Amazon has record profits, and Jeff Bezos is the richest motherfucker that's ever existed. And Oh yeah, Amazon warehouse employees have to piss in bottles to meet quota.
Yeah.
It's just like, how the fuck is it not obvious that the system exists to fuck you? Like, this system exists to fuck you. Whoever's listening to this, either you're on the winning side of this, and you just think it's funny that I'm mad because, you know, this is just my impotent rage and nothing will ever come of it. And we've got our bomb shelters to retreat to. We're never going to have to answer for any of this. The torches and pitchforks are never coming. We've systematically gutted education and gotten everybody to believe that if they just work hard enough, eventually, you know, they'll get to be rich too. Yeah. So unless you're one of those motherfuckers, unless you know that capitalism serves you, unless you know it. I mean, you're on the winning side. You have never had to check your bank balance before buying anything you fucking want. Capitalism exists to fuck you. It just does. If you've ever had to go, hey, how much does that cost? Capitalism exists to fuck you. If you've ever had to check a price tag or your bank balance, capitalism exists to fuck you personally. It just does. That's how the system works. If money is a finite resource to you, capitalism exists to fuck you. It just does. That's how it works. Because there are people that never have to look at price tags or bank balances. They just get whatever the fuck they want. And what's more galling is often they're given shit for free. Rich motherfucker walks into the restaurant, doesn't get handed a bill on his way out. You go in there, that'll be $4,000, sir. That's fucking capitalism. That's just how it fucking works.
This controller exists to fuck me if you can't tell. My God. Let me go. Let me go. Let me go.
Yeah, this is a really interesting grapple sequence you're going through here.
Christ. Okay. All right. As you were saying, yes. I think so many people like just from talking to people like my uncle, you know, for instance, like the you know, a lot of people are aware of the evils and they just think there's no way around them because they're so.
Oh, communist way worse. Oh yeah, we could all equally starve. That fucking bullshit argument.
We've been so you know, so convinced that any alternative is evil because, you know, anything that happens in other countries is evil. It's just like we don't just and so many people in other countries have commented on this that we're just so out of touch with the advantages. And it's not to say that like places like, you know, the UK or Japan or Sweden or Australia are fucking utopias. But like we're so just unaware of like any good ideas that anyone else might have that we could benefit from, and we're so unaware of like where some ideas went wrong. Why? We just assume that they are wholesale bad, and we can't differentiate. It's like it's just complete lack of critical thinking. And it's crazy to see how it's ingrained in people, and I've started seeing it just ever since I've like started talking to you and gotten to know you, and then started like just bouncing some of the ideas from other people and from you off of each other, and just seeing how people react. Part of the reason why I am so fucking Socratic with you is because I just it never ceases to amaze me, like how people react to certain ideas and how really entrenched in people things are. And as far as I know, and I mean, I don't know anybody that knew you before you went full on commie, but you know, it's fascinating to talk to somebody, and like people who are watching, like maybe you don't know anybody like this or haven't had a situation like this, but if you ever met someone who apparently is this, you know, just testament to like what happens when someone has a complete about face of belief, it's interesting. It's really interesting because it's like, you know, it's not one of those things where it's like, you know, somebody was raised with something and it's just the thing that they just stuck with, never questioned. Yeah. And then you find somebody that like, you know, Like.
Well, as the saying goes, no zealot like a convert, right?
True. Yes. I was just about to do a little bit of CYOA with that, but you know, what do they call that? Conversion bias. And
Well, there's something for that too, but the thing is, like, after, like, you know, traditionally studying logic, I can't see any other way anymore. Because
No,
I mean, like,
God
I can, like, you know, mathematically break down, you know, the argument from any fucking angle, and I don't see any other way that capitalism isn't a pure force of evil to serve just a few people and keep everybody else bowing and scraping on the false, completely false, and well known to those in charge false belief that maybe one day they'll get fucked a little less. Just a little less. Because seriously, like, what most of the scraping masses want out of life is not what the rich are getting.
Yeah, no, I know we've talked about this too. I'd be happy to just, God fucking damn it! I'd just be happy to get out of this room without getting sucked on by this fucking thing anymore. Get me out of here! Fuck! I just want to stop bouncing off the ceiling and down into that thing's gullet.
Well, why don't you just get going then?
I don't know, because I don't actually,
right.
I don't actually know where I'm supposed to be going next. I think I'm supposed to be going this way, but I don't know. I think
Okay.
I'm supposed to be, yeah. Okay. I just was really mad about that, and then eventually I just wanted to leave and go refill my health, but then I realized, no, I can't leave. The only way is forward, and I have to keep going the way that I'm supposed to go. Or something. I don't know. Anyway, yeah. What were we saying immediately prior to that? To me raging?
Oh, I was just raging against the machine, as I do, and you had brought up, you know, conversion bias, and I was and then I countered with, well, yeah, but what I'm saying is I've actually, like, sententially broken this down and looked at it from every angle, and I don't see any other way to see capitalism except existing to fuck over everybody but the winners.
Yeah.
And you know whether you're a winner or not, because if you're gonna win in capitalism, you were born.
What are you
there.
doing watching this? Jesus.
Yeah. No, seriously, like, that's the thing, is I'm not really worried about the fucking Illuminati watching this and going, oh, well, time to deal with him, because they couldn't be fucking bothered.
Yeah.
They're way too busy out shopping for their 45th fucking yacht to give a flying fuck what some random commie says on a YouTube video.
Yeah. But what's sad is that so many people that aren't fucking rich are so, you know, it's like you feel like a tinfoil hat wearing conspiracy theorist, like that's watched The Matrix too many times and is like, oh, many of the people that we have to save are part of the system and blah blah blah. Like fucking
yeah, if you
really
don't see
do
the
feel
Matrix
that
as
fucking
an
way.
allegory for taking down capitalism, then I got bad news. You missed the fucking boat on that one.
Wait, what?
Like, the Matrix is about the fucking destruction of capitalism as a system.
Yeah. No,
Also, note how they killed everyone involved.
I didn't realize that you got that out of it. I'm not. Maybe that's why. Maybe that's why
exactly
everybody.
what I got out of it.
Maybe that's why everybody hates it.
Yeah. Also, I can't stand people that are like, "Oh, In Time was so stupid." I'm like, it really wasn't. It was a brilliant sci-fi take on capitalism and what it amounts to, and yeah, especially with the state of healthcare under capitalism, like, it makes perfect fucking sense. Have you seen it?
What's it called again?
It's called In Time. It's Justin Timberlake plays the main character, and the whole thing is time is currency.
Oh, well, now I'm just gonna instantaneously watch it because it's got fucking Justin Timberlake in it.
Yeah, that's probably why you haven't watched it, is because it has Justin Timberlake in it. But no, really, it was a good fucking movie.
That's not. Don't paint me as a fucking.
Don't
Timberlake.
put me in that box.
don't. I mean, fucking.
Don't paint you as a Justin Timberlake hater? Oh,
Yeah.
I know. How dare I?
Well, I mean, he never did dubstep.
Well, you haven't heard his latest album.
I mean, I've heard Lonely Island, and that's all I need to hear anymore from him.
Oh, yes. Oh my god. Yeah. Yeah,
Of course.
absolutely. Yes. Yes. Lonely Island is, yeah. Yeah. Yep. The song Mother's Day almost killed my mom.
Did you actually you made your mom watch Mother Lover?
Yep. Yep. And yeah, mom's got asthma, and she was laughing so hard she couldn't fucking breathe. Literally almost killed her.
Jesus, I fucking hate the grapple beam in this game.
Had to help her find her inhaler because she was fucking dying.
You know what's so heartbreaking about going back and doing let's plays of old games is that you really discover how impatient and how spoiled you become, because this is shit that I just did when I was a kid, and now it's like this huge pain in the ass, and I'm like, why am I so jaded about this shit? Like, the grapple beam didn't used to bother me, and now I'm just bitching about it, like, and I feel like I'm annoying myself with how much I'm bitching.
I mean, it's just goes to show that Vidya has progressed.
Sure.
You know, video games are better now in a lot of ways than they were back in days of yore.
It's sad that the nature of nostalgia precludes you from ever kind of reliving that sort of charm in the same way again.
I don't think that's universally true, because I still love Super Mario World. Like, the fact that it's, old at this point doesn't diminish how good a game it is, to me anyway.
That's fair.
I mean, I don't think Super Mario World is a worse Mario game than Mario 64 or Mario Odyssey. I mean, I don't think it's worse. I mean, it's obvious that it's older because the graphics aren't as good, and you have less gimmicks to play with and whatnot. But it's still an amazing fucking game. Like, I'm never frustrated when I play Super Mario World.
Maybe it's just I don't know. Maybe
it's just these endless, not endless, but these aimless fucking games don't stand up as well, because now you have like quest trackers where you can have half a fucking clue what you're supposed to be doing.
Well, no, it's not the open-endedness of this game that's bothering me right now. It's the fact that I'm it's this grapple beam mechanic. It's not. And the fact that this controller is old, and the fact that my hands are a lot bigger, and it's just the control scheme of this game is actually quite different from most other games. Like the how are the buttons arranged on an Xbox controller? I'm trying to make you understand, because I know you don't play PlayStation.
Well, my problem is I've been playing with the Elite controller for a while now, so like I'm not even used to how normal Xbox controllers work anymore.
Okay, well, how are the face buttons arranged?
Well, you've got 4 face buttons on the right side, and you've got a left stick. And
no, I know. How are the face buttons arranged? It's like, what is it? Like,
vaguely like every other fucking controller.
I just tell me where each one is.
You've got a diamond of fucking face buttons, the labels of which don't matter because they're different on every fucking
platform. They do matter for the purposes of what I'm trying to explain. That's what I'm asking you. What are they?
Well, you're asking what the labels are? That really doesn't matter.
No, it does for what I'm trying to say. Like,
How does it matter if they're shapes?
Oh my God, stop questioning
letters
me.
Or colors?
Stop
How does that
questioning
possibly
me.
Fucking matter?
No, you'll see. Just fucking tell me. Like,
they're called A, B, X, and Y.
Okay, and how are they arranged?
Why could that possibly fucking matter?
Okay, how are they arranged? A, B,
I don't
X,
even
and Y.
remember without looking at it, because I just intuitively just know what the buttons do.
Oh my God.
Hold on, let me grab my Xbox controller. Also, like I said, I'm not used to using face buttons anymore because I have paddles on the back of my fucking Elite controller. Okay, it's X is on the left, Y is on top, B is on the right, and A is on the bottom. But it doesn't fucking matter, because every fucking controller has a diamond of face buttons, and they all do the same thing.
I know.
No matter what they're labeled.
Oh my God. You're getting way too uppity about this.
Dodecahedron on the fucking PlayStation, and the buttons do the same thing.
Oh my God. If you just listen to me, that's not where I'm going with this.
Okay, what's your fucking point, then?
My point is that the control scheme for this game, like the button that you push the most often, the fire button, is the top button on, which I guess would be, what is it, Y on the Xbox controller? I was asking so that you would understand. I was trying to give you a landmark.
Okay, I know how a SNES controller's laid out.
Okay, well, the X button
I don't need another frame of reference.
I didn't know if you could remember. I can't remember. I can't remember which button is which without looking at the controller. Like, as far as what it's labeled as. I mean...
Well, like I said, I don't usually remember what they're labeled either. I just know, oh, that button does this. It's
Okay,
a muscle memory thing.
So the point is that the button you push the most often in this game, in Super Metroid, is the X button, which is at the top of the diamond of face buttons. And that rarely is the case in the vast majority of experiences I've had. In most games I play, the buttons you push the most often are the ones on the right,
on the bottom,
on the bottom and on the right, because those are usually like the confirm and cancel buttons or the fire buttons or whatever. And very rarely,
the jump button
yeah,
in Fallout 4 is Y, which is, you know, at the top, and that feels wrong because A is usually jump. Which is why I have the paddle mapping that I do on my Elite, is because I just got used to how Fallout has that, and it doesn't work for shit with Assassin's Creed.
Okay, well, the point I was trying to make is that 9 times out of 10 in most games that are played on a controller with a diamond of face buttons, the button at the top is usually the least used. And in this game, it's the one that's
the least ergonomic to press.
Yes, and in this game, it's the one that you use the most because it's the fire button. So... And then the jump button is immediately to the right of that, and so it's like playing this game is a little bit hard on the hands, and there's no way to change the control scheme unless you emulate it.
I thought that you could have changed it in the control settings.
I don't think so. When we first started up the game? No, it didn't give me that option. I don't think.
So it just let you see what the buttons were, but you couldn't change it.
Let's see. I honestly don't know. I don't think there's a way. No, I don't think there's a way. There's nothing on here.
Not from in there. I'm talking about from the main screen, before you loaded into the game. It looked like there was a place where you could change the controls, but maybe it was just letting you see the controls, but it looked like you could change them. I don't fucking know. There's
a control for moonwalking where if you're charging your beam, you can actually strafe and move backwards. Basically, right now, I'm charging my beam, and if I were to charge my beam and then go and then do an about face, I'd just turn with my charged beam and run back the other way. But if you turn on this setting, basically what it does is it lets you back up slowly when you hit back, as opposed to turning around if you're charging your beam. But I've never found a use for that, and so I don't use it. At least not with my way of playing the game. Why can I not get out of here? What else do I need to kill?
Wait a minute, what the fuck did your beams do just then?
What do you mean?
You fired the triple shot, but then they were weaving up and down and shit.
Oh, that's the wave beam. You completely weren't paying attention when I got the wave beam, but I gasped and was really happy for a second, and then I was like, yeah, I got the wave beam. It's blue now because you've got the ice beam.
The ice, yeah.
The ice beam stacks with almost everything, but if you turn the ice beam off, then you get this, then it looks like this. It's all purple and pretty. Wavy, and the wave beam has traditionally been purple in most Metroid games. It's kind of just a thing. But I feel like I should be able to get out of here now. Why can't I?
I don't know, but I'm sure I can find a way to blame capitalism.
Oh man,
it's what I do.
Yeah. And frankly, a lot of it makes sense. And this coming from a person who'd never really thought twice about it. I mean, that's not true, because I listen to a lot of fucking industrial and punk music, and there's plenty of commentary against capitalism and things of that nature. Not just capitalism, there's plenty of criticisms of a lot of things in that music, which is part of what I like about it. But I've never heard anything so well as thorough and seething as Ginsu's hatred of capitalism. And honestly, pretty well reasoned. I come up with every single misgiving I can, and then toss it Ginsu's way to see what he'll say. And 9 times out of 10, I come away feeling satisfied that he's addressed my concerns.
Well, like I said, I studied logic, and this is one of those things that I would argue in my logic class all the time in the presence of other, people that were traditionally studying logic and, moderated by a dude with a fucking PhD. Right? So, what I'm saying is I've had this argument on higher levels. So it's not that there's something that I missed, and that's how I ended up being a commie. You know, I don't like being on the losing side of arguments. Really, I can't imagine anybody would enjoy that, really, unless you're just a masochist. So yeah, I would rather be right, and I mean, I think you'd find I'm pretty quick to say, oh, you know what, I was wrong, and yeah, obviously that's right. I'd like to think that that's the case. I can't think of any time when I've stubbornly
you and I?
stuck to something. Well, no, ever. I can't think of a time when I've been like, oh, well, you very conclusively proven that I was wrong, but I'm going to stick to this anyway. Like, and I guess that's what drives me fucking insane about Republicans, is it doesn't really matter that you point out that they'd have to be sociopaths to be on the side that they're on. And they're like, well, I'm not. Well, yeah, but you would have to be. But I'm not. Well, no, but I mean, I just spent the last 3 hours outlining that you would have to be. And they're like, but I'm not, though. And I'm like,
you don't get to decide. if it's you know, you walk, talk, and quack like a duck, so you're a duck. You know?
Nuh-uh. Yeah, right. Yeah, just.
I mean, it's like that libertarian thing I pointed out, where I was like, you know, it was like, you know, votes Republican every time, but totally not Republican.
Well, yeah, like quote-unquote democratic socialists pretend like they're something else, and they vote for Democrats all the fucking time.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just the quasi-lefty version of fucking libertarians. It's like, yeah, you're a fucking Democrat, you just, like to tell yourself that you aren't one, just like libertarians or Republicans that fancy themselves not Republicans.
Oh
it's
God!
Like, oh no, but occasionally I vote for spoiler candidates that never win anything and fuck my own party over. Okay, well, yeah, that doesn't make you part of any kind of solution, though.
Okay, so I actually remember from the Game Grumps playthrough, and this is actually something that I never knew myself playing the game, and that's that if you attack this guy with super missiles, he gets really mad and like shoots a bunch of shit at you that you can't dodge. Even though super missiles do a lot of damage, I don't know. I feel like I've never paid attention to that rule, and I don't know. Seeing Aaron struggle so much, I kind of wonder how valid it was. I remember they kept making fun of the sound it makes when you hit it, when you do damage to it. It's like, ah!
Yeah. Wow. Yeah.
It's like I don't know. He sounds like an animal, like yelping. You feel bad.
I do not feel bad.
Of course you don't. God.
I don't know. I guess I'm just secure in my convictions or something. But like, anytime I do something, I'm not likely to feel bad about it because, well, I chose to do it. If I'd have felt bad about doing it, why would I just not do it? You know, like
it's weird because like I know, you know, you're quick to point out that you're an Aspie, but I've known other people with Asperger's or with autism or whatever, and like that, you know, are not nearly as secure about it, and actually will get offended if you point it out as what's the word, as cavalierly, I guess, as I do with you. Yeah. And I only feel comfortable doing that because I've witnessed you. Well,
here's the thing: like, what's the benefit to acting like I'm a victim about it? Like, this is just how my fucking brain works. I'm aware of that. I can't change it. Like, oh, what are you gonna do? Make fun of the fact that I don't have social skills? Thanks, I lived through high school. Okay, like, you can't hurt me more than the popular kids did in high school. You know, like, I'm over it at this point. That's where I'm at on it. Like, haha, good talk.
I'm sorry, I'm just concentrating because I did the thing that I wasn't supposed to do.
Hooray!
I was like, no, I'm going to hit him with the super missile and deal with that unavoidable attack that made Aaron get a game over 1,000,000 times. And yeah, that's what I just did. I hit him with the super missile because I thought a super missile would finish him off because he certainly looks like he's low on health. Because everything gets all darker and red when you're about to kill it. Yep, he's dead. Cool, I didn't get a game over. Still doing better there.
Hooray!
We're talking a lot of shit about Game Grumps. I realize, and but we're both
They're
fans.
yeah, but it's easy to point out what you don't like about, like, I mean, I've gone for hours about shit that I don't like about Assassin's Creed Origins, but yes, I like the game as a whole.
Yeah.
But anyhow, we're going on fucking what, 4 hours on this, and the wife's gonna be home, so let's say next time on DRF.
Well, okay, hold on. Let me see if I can end at a save point, which I think should be active just up here. Because the power was
This
out.
walking trash can.
Yeah, no, it's our. What did the Game Grumps say in this? They said it was their walking buddy. I don't know.
Okay.
I'm not gonna steal Game Grumps jokes. That would be a whole new low. But yeah, they really are kind of just like. They really are. I actually find these weird little floaty ball things with the little balls attached to them, like the little atoms, sort of molecule things, just floating around, like the macromolecules.
Yeah.
These giant things, and they hurt you. Like, why? What are they? I don't know. That's not the right door. But the music here is even creepier. God. Like, I have headphones, so I'm hearing all of like the weird panning and shit that the music is doing, and it's bizarre.
I'm hearing it too.
Well, this was entertaining, and yeah, we'll see you guys next time. And we're like, this is like, yeah, no, we're right at just about halfway through the game, so I don't think I'm doing bad.
Could be worse. You could be Aaron Hansen.
All right, man. Later, everybody. Bye. See you next time.
Bye.